Well, happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for being here this morning. Try to get our heads right on a Friday. As we do, I will say that it is really nice that it's Friday today. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins still out in the land, Sin City, as they call it. Well, it's like Sin City adjacent out in Henderson, Nevada. And
It's like Sin Suburb.
Sin Suburb. It's not bad. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Sin Suburb. Like minor sin suburb.
Yeah.
Out in Henderson playing with his buddy Scott, playing some golf. Checked in a little bit yesterday. I wanted to start the program today by shouting out the Oceanside Fire Department for the, I guess terrible afternoon that they had yesterday as the Oceanside Pier caught fire. And it was kind of after the game, and I looked at Twitter and I said, "Oh my God, the Oceanside Pier is burning right now." And
Badly.
As of this morning, I guess there's still some smoke, some embers, or whatnot. But yeah, the pictures that I saw, the smoke, it was just insane, insane. So I think the good news is nobody was injured. Everybody was cleared from the area. Obviously, never want to see anything like that happen. The idea of being a fireman is one that is just magnificent to me. I went and toured a firehouse with my kids, and of course, every little kid wants to be a fireman. And I love my kids. It's such a noble profession, but please, if you're going to do that, please be very careful because it's pretty scary stuff. And those guys are badasses, man, running in there, taking care of that yesterday. So, listen, that thing is nearly 140 years old. They've put a lot of money into it. They put a lot of money into it recently. Yeah. And I think what they said, at least the mayor said, is the money that they had put in recently really helped keep it from just burning and falling right into the ocean. So I just wanted to shout out Oceanside Fire Department and really all of the firemen around. My buddy is one. He tells me stories where I just go, I can't believe that this is what you have to do. I really shouldn't complain about coming in and having to BS with my friends on a Friday when I think about the calls that they get, the weird stuff that they have to deal with, and then, of course, the life-threatening danger that they face every day. Pretty amazing stuff. So shout out.
One of our Tier 1 basketball players, Clay, he's a firefighter with San Diego Fire Department. I was texting with him yesterday. He's like, man, this is brutal. He goes, we're sending some help up there, but Oceanside Fire Department, they are solid. They've got this thing under control. They're doing a great job, it looks like. And man, that was a sad scene yesterday.
Yeah, and we don't really know what started the fire yet, so they'll get it figured out, and again, hopefully get that thing rebuilt. Am I to understand that we have someone from Sin Suburb on the line?
Sin Suburb, yes. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Sin Suburb. This is Ben in Henderson calling in.
First time, long time. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. Doing good. A little bit sick of the sound of my own voice after the show, the roundtable, and then marriage counseling. I talked for about 7-8 straight hours yesterday.
You had a long one. Now, real quick, yesterday on the show, we had a moment, Ben, where Woods was talking about the roundtable, and when I informed him that it was going to be a little bit longer of a roundtable with the 11:10 pregame show, he didn't believe me.
I thought he was lying.
You were literally in the office with us when Adam told us a couple of days ago. Am I crazy, Ben?
Yeah, he was like, no. I asked. I said, is that roundtable going to be extra long because the pregame show doesn't start for a few minutes until after 11 o'clock? And Adam said, yes, it is. And I said, I'm getting out of one, a little bit of extra time by not hosting on this week.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
You would have thought I punched one of his children or something. He was so taken aback.
It was jarring. When Paulie said that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I go, what do you mean we have an extra 10 minutes? I'm exhausted. And he said, no, the extra 10. And I'll tell you, I felt every second of that extra 10 because right when the clock struck 11, I had to pee. Bad. And you guys know how I get. And there's no commercials in that thing. And I am sitting there, and it was everything I could do to not reach down like Bo and Taylor do, and just hold my dong right there on the video. I mean, I was like, wrap it up, man, wrap it up. I was.
We don't even have a table in front of us anymore.
No. So
hide anything.
If anybody had seen me, I would have been, holding myself, because as soon as that thing ended, I mean, I had to waddle down the hallway to relieve myself. It was horrible, and Annie did a great job, but man, it was just like I am just so exhausted and sick of the sound of my own voice. I didn't want to even say anything to anybody last night. I just can't stand the sound of my own voice right now, Benny.
Well, how did our show go yesterday? Jake Cronenworth was on.
He was great.
He set the guys up for success, but did you tire him out so they couldn't finish out the game yesterday? That was absolutely brutal.
That was a terrible loss. I'm pretty hard on myself, and I beat myself up a lot. And I went back and listened to some of the show because I'm a psychopath. And I just realized that when you're gone, I talk really fast. Now, the ironic thing is, and you know this, nobody loves the pregnant pause. Nobody loves dead air and the awkwardness that it presents more than I do.
And nobody hates it more than Ben.
Correct. Ben. Yeah. So when I was in here yesterday, I felt like I was talking way fast. And I listened and I go, oh my God, what is your problem? Like, let the game come to you a little bit. Relax. You don't have to fill every second. So I'm going to try today to slow it down a little bit, let the game come to me a little bit, relax. I was pretty, I was a little frazzled. Hannah and Megan came in, and Hannah spilled coffee all over the lobby. And I didn't get my coffee till like 5:45. So I was kind of a wreck. Corey Stewart was in. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. I loved everyone that came in. That being said,
here I just pulled a
little.
There's
a ton. Oh no, we're gonna air check me.
Bit, yeah,
oh God,
air check. Listen to how fast Woods was talking. This was just talking to some Padres baseball yesterday.
I said yesterday, and I had research of knuckleballers at Coors Field. It had not gone well. All right, Dickey had gone and thrown bullpens there and said, no, I'm not. That knuckleball, if it doesn't knuckle and it just rotates, is just BP for those guys. And I am so impressed by what I saw from Matt Waldron last night. There was something they talked about on the broadcast. Hamlin kept talking about how Waldron had said, no, I like the dry air. And I'm like, that's just something you said.
Just slow down.
Slow down.
It's not. It's okay.
Keep in mind that when you talk twice as fast, you need to prepare twice as much content, because then it's really an 8-hour show.
That's right.
Slow it down. You'll have less work to do in the long run.
I was dying. Basically, it sounded like an auctioneer. That's how I felt when I listened back. That I was,
up. 5 down 10. I'm fired up down 10 down 15 on the 15. I'm 15.
It's identical. It was identical, man. And I get so worked up about it.
30, sir. 25, and then you're out. I'm 25, 30, 30. Now 5. I'm 35, 40.
I beat the crap out of myself really all day yesterday. I really did. And it didn't help seeing that game and the results, Benny. How was your trip, my friend?
It's going pretty well. It's today's moving day, of course, in any golf tournament. So, the pressure's on. We split our 2 matches yesterday.
Okay.
I played pretty well. I won the closest to the pin contest, which is fun.
What'd you get?
How much did you win?
$100.
Nice.
$100.
Nice.
So that was 4 iron to 5 feet, which I made the birdie. So that was like my highlight of my day. And then afterwards, we went down to the Strip and went to Resorts World for the first time. That place is awesome.
Is it cool?
Giving away some prizes. Yes, it was so cool. Walked around, played some poker, and had some pizza, and it was a really, really fun time. But then we were both exhausted by like 9 o'clock and had to go home and fall asleep because we're getting old and tired, and we can't hang like we used to in Las Vegas.
Any prostitutes?
Not that I ever could.
Any prostitutes? No.
I don't think so. I mean,
I just meant, are there any around? Like, did you see any around?
I mean, there are certainly plenty of lovely ladies all over the place in Las Vegas. But how do you know? Well,
it's a good question. It's a really good question.
Now, $100 for the closest to the pin contest. That could you could have some fun with that at Play It Against Sam's.
And Play It Against Sam's. Yeah, they already know you.
I heard that. That was unbelievable, guys. I think they're going to put me on a list somewhere. Do they have voice recognition? And am I going to be in trouble if I go around?
No, they're
Las
expecting
Vegas
you tonight.
Any of the establishments?
Just go in and ask for. I think it was
Shanna.
Shanna. Yeah, Shanna. Go in and ask for Shanna. and she's expecting you and your party. Man, I'm glad that you're having a good time, and I'm glad you got. I mean, listen, a split is a split. Hey, yeah, how funny. We're going to be talking about a split later today in the program, Benny, of course. And maybe the worst split in Padres history. Usually you go on the road, you're like, hell yeah, man, got a split. No, not this time. Not this time at all. I'm glad that you're having a good time. How much golf do you have today? Like 27 more holes?
Only 18 holes today. Well, it's supposed to rain, actually, a little bit today. A little un-Henderson-like weather, so we might have to battle the elements today, which is interesting.
Golf in the rain is not my favorite.
No, I don't think it's going to rain all day, just a little bit in the middle of the day. Hopefully it'll stay to a minimum and we can enjoy ourselves.
Now, I was absolutely in tears yesterday. In the middle of the show, you texted me and Paulie, and you had been walking around the clubhouse of this private club. Now, we went to a private club. One of our tier ones took us to a private club, and we walked through the clubhouse, and he's like, hey, look. Oh, my God, that's Michael Jordan's locker. Like, he has a membership here. Oh, Phil Mickelson has
Tiger Woods' putter.
Tiger Woods' putter. But, like, some guys are members. But yesterday when you texted me and Paulie, of all the three guys that you had seen their lockers, I almost died of laughter. There's a guy at that.
I was doing the same thing. I was looking for celebrities, anyone famous, ex-athletes, and I couldn't find any names I recognized, but I did find some names that certainly stood out from the rest of them.
Yeah,
what were the names, Ben?
I got them right here. There's a guy. There's a guy there at the club named. His name is Gene Raper. And there's another guy.
It's not like Raper.
There is no accent.
Repair.
There's no accent. It's R-A-P-E-R. Raper. Gene Raper. It's so unfortunate. Another guy, Ben, and this is what made me laugh, is that Ben's devious mind now. Cliff Cummings. He sent that over to us. And then
that's fairly common.
Yeah, that's fairly common. And then
this one.
You need to get a picture with a gentleman named Lou Porn. That is I have never.
Lou, L-O-U.
He's actually in the tournament.
Shut your
haven't met him
mouth.
yet, no, he's actually in the field somewhere. I'll see if I can find him.
Does he have a mustache? I guarantee you he has a mustache.
I don't know.
I guarantee you he's got a thick brown mustache. Lou Porn is his name. How? I change your name, Raper or Porn? Are you kidding me?
Or you moved to Las Vegas.
Or you moved to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Somebody tweeted
Porn.
yesterday, imagine Lou Porn on the tee box. He hits it, and somebody says, get in the hole! And he says, okay, no problem. That is just incredible, dude. Incredible. Well, have a great rest of your trip. Play well. Win some money. Try to win your money back. You're what, quarter of the way back already?
Yeah, I already got some of it back,
right.
And hopefully a chance to win some more today. I just worry about the porn kids and,
Yeah, the porn kids.
Family, like the reunion and everything, For Lou, it's fine.
I'm Lou Porn. This is my wife, Marianne Porn. These are my kids, Billy and Franklin Porn. It's unbelievable. I've never heard that in my life. Ever. It's the first human being. Also, Raper. I've never heard of a guy with the last name Raper. I'll just say it. Please try to get a picture of Lou Porn on the sly. I gotta see it, man. I gotta see it. It's unbelievable, and I love that. I love that Ben 5 years ago would not have sent that text, and now he's like, "Hey, these guys will get a kick out of this." Yeah,
I knew you guys would be very amused by that.
Meet the Porns. Hey, look, guys, guess what came in the mail? It's the Porn family Christmas card. Let's hang it up on the fridge next to the Rapers family Christmas card. It is just incredible. Incredible. Benjamin, we love you. Safe travels. We'll see you when you get back. And
thanks, guys. Have a good Friday. We'll see you on Monday morning.
Go Padres.
Bye, Benny.
Bye, Benny. That's the great Benjamin Higgins. What a legend he is. So you heard him, and I said it yesterday on the show. He's going to be able to recreate every shot that he took. He has that beautiful mind that allows him to do that. And I really think, we're going to turn a lot of listeners off. I don't care. I want to, there's the picture. I want to hear him on Monday. I'm going to say, Benny, I'm going to put him to the test. I'm going to say, Benny, walk me through your round on Saturday. And I want him to go as far as he can, shot by shot. And here's the thing. He's not going to make it up. He's not going to make it up. He knows exactly. I can ask him when he played Goat Hill 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Give me what you did on it. I want to see how far he can go. And if he goes 18 full holes, we're going to wear it. It's going to happen Monday. I'm telling you now.
I'm in for that. Normally, I couldn't care less.
Right.
But
it's more of a test.
It's a social experiment.
It's a social experiment. It's brilliant. He's a brilliant man, and I love that about him very much. All right, coming up next, we will set the menu for you. Got a good one today. Got a really good one. Yeah, we're going to get to that Mike Shildt audio. Find out how you guys feel about it. The other thing I wanted to say today, as I am very tired of the sound of my own voice, very tired of it. Would like to hear from the Tier 1s today as well, so be ready to call in. I want to hear your thoughts on yesterday's game, this team as a whole. Saw your reactions on Twitter. Some of them I agree with. Some of them are absolutely asinine. We will talk about all of them, and it's okay.
Sounds about right.
Everything is okay, all right? So we'll be here for you. That's what we do. This is a place for you to vent. Lay it on me is what I want. Just come at me if you have to. All right, I got some grief yesterday, so bring it. Bring it. That's what we're here for. Just your personal punching bag here in San Diego as it pertains to the San Diego Padres. We'll be right back. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Woo, I like that on a Friday. Morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Nice to hear from our beloved Benny Higgins as he gets ready, gets his cranberry juice in him, and gets ready to hit the links again. Great to be here with you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. And we're going to be taking this thing home today. We've got 3 special guests today. Actually, 4 special guests today on the program, which is good on a Friday.
Busy.
More of them, less of me. I'm telling you, Paulie. I got home yesterday and was like, nobody talked to me. I don't want to say a word. I got nothing in my head. I'm like, I have just vomited everything out, between this and the round table. And then the marriage counseling was just exhausting. I was exhausted.
That's it
was a long ass day. Long ass day.
And you don't have to get into any details, but marriage counseling, it's not supposed to be easy or fun.
No, it's good though.
It's good.
It's really
but
good.
They're tough from what I've heard.
Yeah. You have to go in and be really honest about communication and things like that. And as a literal professional communicator, I don't know if this surprises you guys. I'm really not the easiest person to communicate with. I don't know if that is a big shock to anyone, but you just try to navigate life. And my wife, she works so hard, and I got to figure out how to ease some of my burden, and it's really a good thing ultimately. But yeah, it's work. I mean, you're not in there going, everything's great. She's fantastic.
We've done a little bit of marriage counseling, and that's kind of how we started, just not even really thinking about it. We're like, yeah, it's been really good. We haven't really been arguing. Like, we had a great weekend last weekend. And she just cuts us off and goes, that's great. I don't want to hear what's good.
Right.
I want to hear about the bad stuff. We're like, oh.
Yeah. Keegan says, well, what did you guys talk about after a day like that where you've been together all day? I said, and so we both sat down. We kind of told her. I said, "Well, yeah, I do a radio show. My wife actually came in and we hosted. We had a great time, and she thought Hannah did a great job yesterday. And I told her as much. And I said, but that's you're on the air, and you can hear us busting balls and sniping at each other on the air. It doesn't change at home. I mean, we're always kind of busting balls. The thing is like
maybe a little more vulgar.
You got to know at home when you're getting your balls busted or if somebody's really mad, and that's the line that you have to figure out, man. But it was great. It's great. It's gonna be great for us in our relationship. Look, I'm a big therapy guy. I recommend it. I don't think anybody shouldn't be in therapy, really. I mean, I think the world would be a better place. It's helped me tremendously to be able to deal with the stresses of life, like that stupid-ass game yesterday, which we will talk about.
We'll get to that
next on the program. But we got our pal Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. He's going to join us at 8. Our buddy Kyle Glazer, who used to be with Baseball America, he's going to come in and hang. I think I've met Kyle once. But we talked to him a bunch over the years. I'm excited. He is a smart.
We had him at like an opening day broadcast. He was in
Did
town.
He?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of our downtown broadcasts. He walked by.
We grabbed him.
Joined us. Yeah.
I think that may be the time I met him. He's a really smart baseball guy. Really, really smart baseball guy and a good dude. Believe he's a former adult league star as well. Ooh. So we have that in common. And then 9 a.m. everybody. The skipper, Mike Shildt.
Hi, this is Mike Shildt.
Hi, how are you? Interesting day yesterday for you.
What's up, my dude? How you doing?
We're good, man. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, should that be the first question I ask him?
Okay?
Hey, man, everything good? One of the better, in my opinion, post-game interviews I've heard in a while, and I often try to put myself in his shoes. Coming off of a game like that you've just basically blown, and you should have been
Not
on
basically.
No,
they blew it.
They blew it. You have to then get on a plane, fly back to San Diego, and figure out how you're going to go out and beat a really good Phillies team. We should have been on a high right now, and you're not. And then you got people right in your face asking you questions. I do try to put myself in his shoes and be a little sympathetic. But yeah, it was a good one. We'll play that audio for you next if you hadn't heard it. But he was fired up, man. He was fired up, and I've gotten all sorts of reaction to it. So we'll talk about that next. And we've got also my buddy Trey LeClaire from the San Diego Seals is going to jump on with us late in the program. Huge playoff game. First round of the NLL playoffs is one and done. So tomorrow night, Pechanga Arena, San Diego. If we lose, our season's over. If we win, we move on. And it is just, I am as nervous as I've ever been. Put a lot into this team. They put a lot into their games, and they've had a phenomenal season. You don't want it to end in the first round after one loss. So we'll talk to Trey LeClaire later in the show. Thanks for being here on a Friday. Going to take your calls as well. I really, really want to hear from you guys today on where you stand. All right, about our beloved San Diego Padres. So we will be right back. We'll get right into Padres talk next. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Happy Friday to you, my friends. Just me and Paulie holding it down for now. Kyle Glazer's going to come hang out with us later. Jordan Schusterman at 8 a.m. Skipper Mike Shildt at 9 this morning. Looking forward to that very much. Let's do the Padres
Really
wrap
cool.
up. Yeah, it is really cool that we have you every week. Skip, we'll do a Padres wrap up and get into that awful, awful game right after traffic.
That was not fun.
It was not fun.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Looking good all around the county. Keep in mind, though, you might find some slick roadways in various parts, all due to some light rain we had overnight, maybe a little bit of mist. So, yeah, just take it extra carefully. No incidents or accidents getting your way at this time, though. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres wrap-up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
I'll maybe give it till 10. It's 9:44 right now. We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
As this one's lined to deep center field as Zokar goes straight back, makes the catch deep enough to get Doyle home. He'll tag and score from third. A sacrifice fly for Elias Diaz, and a major rarity here in 2024. The Rockies score first. 1-0 Colorado. Odds down 1-0 in the second inning, and a chopper to second base. That'll get it done. Rogers looks home, but he'll throw to first. An RBI ground out for Jose Azócar. Got ourselves a 1-1 game here in the second inning. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and Profar muscles it through into center field, a base hit. Fernando will come in to score, and the Padres lead for the first time today. It's 2-1. Here's the 2-0. Kim swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Cave is going back at the wall, looking up. Gonna go! For the first time this series, the Padres hit a home run. A 2-run shot for Kim here in the third, and now a 4-1 Padre lead. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is launched to left field. Wade is back towards the corner. He's at the wall, looking up. Gonna go. Dropped it into that tunnel over the tall wall down the left field line. A 2-run homer for Montero, his first of the year, and the Rockies have tied it up 4-4. His pitch hit hard on the ground left side. Diving attempt, Tovar ricochets off his glove, heads towards the foul line. Rosario's going to come in and score. Bogarts hustles into second base, an RBI double, and the Padres back in front 5-4. Swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air deep down the right field line. Goodman back to watch. It's going to go. A 2-run homer for Jurickson Profar. And a big pinwheel bat flip as he heads to first base. 8-4 San Diego in the seventh. 2-0 hit in the air to deep left field. Wade is going back. He will watch. It's going to go. This is a 3-run home run for Hunter Goodman. His first hit of the year. And don't look now, it's now a 9-7 game. 0-1 pitch to McMahon, gets through. Tovar's on his way, he will score. 9-9 in the eighth. And boy, I think Campusano just missed it.
Yeah, this is a pass ball.
2-0 the pitch. Diaz hammers it in the air down the left field line. That's a fair ball, that'll get it done. Doyle in to score. Diaz on his way to second, an RBI double, and Colorado does lead for the first time in a long time. It's 10-9. 3-2 from Lawrence. Kim waits. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Kim strikes out and the ball game is over. A nightmare eighth inning for the Padres as the Rockies put up 6 to come from behind and earn a split in this 4-game series. The final score, Colorado 10 and San Diego 9.
Goon put a swing on him, hit a 3-run homer, and the guy's been outstanding for us. And just as long as hit the ball the other way, and walked Tovar, and a couple walks in that inning hurt us. But I don't know what you want me to really tell you. I mean, the guy's been fantastic all year, and just wasn't able to get balls at people, wasn't able to get anybody on the ground.
Go to the well one time too many, and you get burned in the big league sometimes. It happens. It sucked. There is no sugarcoating yesterday's loss. None whatsoever. No bright siding, no turd polishing. It was a pretty excruciating loss. It's a game you got to win. You got to find a way to win. There's a lot that went wrong. I hated every second of it. The only good thing I will say is that it ended at a reasonable time, and you didn't have to lay there in bed last night with your heart racing, your blood pressure up, which happens to me. I mean, I get so affected. And, 5 minutes after it was over, my 6-year-old ran in and goes, "Dad, can we watch a movie together?" And I went, "All right, I'm over it." Right? Had dinner. It was nice. Had a nice evening after that. But
You had your 16 minutes of sulk.
had my 16 minutes of sulk.
We'll give it 16 minutes of sulk, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
Thank you to Pete Fairbanks for maybe giving me the mantra that I need for the season. Now, you as a fan however you want. I don't care. That's how I'm going to try to fan this year, especially after a heartbreaking loss like that. And that's what it was. You felt really good. Up 9-4. And I saw a bunch. Listen, I was the one that was telling you last week, playing at Coors Field sucks. It's a nightmare. I hate it. That being said, you can play that game on the moon and be up 9-4, and you need to win that ball game.
It sucks you don't have Manny. It sucks you didn't have Merrill. We haven't mentioned that. He was a late scratch with a groin strain or an injury, so he did not play. But regardless, bro, 9-4,
bro, you have to.
You got to win that, whether it's Coors Field, Petco Park, or the Moon.
Yeah, the Moon. Yeah,
like,
the Disneyland,
you have to win that game.
El Cajon High. You name it. You name it. You got to win that game, and you got to take 3 or 4 from that team.
That is a jaws of defeat.
It was
jaws of victory.
It was excruciating to watch, and Campy, he's got to catch that ball. I mean, there was so much blame to go around. And listen, at the end of the day, when you're the manager of a big league baseball team, the buck stops with you. It just does. And hindsight managing sucks. Right? It's easy to do this morning for me. It's easy to do for the fan base. I totally get it. When I saw a lot of, you got to know he's out of gas. I tend to agree. I mean, he's got to face 3 batters, so you got to do that. Then you got a lefty coming up. So in his mind, I can see the rationalization of, well, he's been doing it for us all year. He's a veteran. He can lock in here. We've seen guys struggle, with command and then suddenly lock in. Problem is, man, I think he said, and we're going to get into more of his post-game audio because it was really fascinating and might I say even a little bit refreshing. And we can dissect that. Was it refreshing? Was it eyewash? Was he just pissed off and agitated? What's he going to be like today? I'll tell you, man, the small sample size for relievers, like Wandy Peralta came into the series in Colorado with an ERA of .82. That's damn good. That's damn good. He's doing his job. So then, after a couple of outings where he's given up a home run, his ERA leaving there in just a couple of days is .438. And it's like, holy cow. So Mike Shildt go into that well one more time to try to get it. I understand. I do, because the trust gets built up, and guys are going to have bad days where they can't find the zone or they get hit hard. But again, you got to win that game on the moon. Anywhere you play, you got to win that game. Stephen Kolek remains an interesting choice there. I'm curious because I did see a lot of people saying, well, where Robert Suarez? He'd only thrown 7 pitches the day before. And the only thing I can think of, and I'll ask the skipper this, I don't know if he addressed it at all. Suarez has thrown 3 out of the last 4 games. Not a high pitch count. I think he's thrown 31 pitches all week, something like that. So that made sense when I saw people going, go to your guy. Make sure you win that game. Figure that out. I thought Eniel De Los Santos, if you're going to talk about a bright spot, one of the most dominant innings I've seen from a Padres reliever in ever since I started watching Padres baseball 14 years ago.
He's been so good all
He was
season long.
unbelievable. Came in, runners on, and just boom, boom, boom. 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks. It was beautiful. The offense did enough to win that game. He scored 9 runs. So just one that gets away, and it just makes you sick to your stomach, man. Randy Vasquez did not have a good start. He has good stuff. Our buddy Tommy sent out a couple of clips where I watched it and went, all right, yeah, you can work with that. But it was all around a really, really bad loss. And, you usually say, we like to say in sports radio or you say, hey, man, you go on the road, you get a split, you're happy with a split. Man, I just don't feel happy with that split. And I know the players don't feel happy with that split either. It wasn't a good split. It just wasn't. You had that game in hand. cannot give up an inning like that. You just can't. So
let's get to. I want to get to Mike Shildt.
Let's get to Shildt after the game. Again, try to remind everyone.
This is 5 minutes after the game.
5 minutes after the game, and he's pissed off.
It seemed like for as good as Wandy has been of late, he just didn't really have it from the start today. Why was he left in for 5 batters? Did you consider getting him out of there earlier?
It was obvious to you?
Oh, God.
I said it seemed like he didn't really have it earlier today.
Okay. Wandy has about a 60% ground ball rate. Okay. The second a guy gives up a home run, I can't just go take out a guy that's got a microscopic ERA and's got righties out all year. Now, it can be subjective whether he has or not. That can be your opinion. My opinion is I got a veteran guy out there that knows how to get a ball on the ground and is one pitch away from getting a ground ball. So that's what we had. It didn't work out. Things don't work out all the time. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
It's a crazy venue. Crazy things happen here. How much of it is concern versus that's just you just chalk that one up to close?
I don't have any concern. I'm going to tell you what I walked out of this ballpark. There's some agitation because we didn't win the game. But I'm going to tell you what I walk out of this ballpark with. A couple things. A bunch of gamers that showed up without one of our better players in Manny, which, rightfully so. He's having a baby. We had Jackson who, little ouchie, stay away from it. We had guys all over the field playing their asses off and going out and stepping up and getting after it every day. A bunch of gamers stepping up all across the board. And I'm going to tell you what, I'll run Wandy Peralta out there any and every day in the 8th inning with the lead. Okay? It doesn't work sometimes. But I can tell you what, this group, outside of the result at the end of the day, the heart and the competitive spirit and those guys getting after everything they've got, it doesn't work out every time. But I'll take this group any day of the week because I got a bunch of winning gamers. Take that over the long haul.
All right. So that is, I watched it. I was the game had ended and I was still sitting there, Paulie, like with my mouth open, like, what the hell just happened? Did get an F-bomb from my 6-year-old who ran in and saw the score. It was the first official F-bomb about a baseball game, and I let it slide because I felt the same way. Laughed my ass off. And then I said, I usually don't listen to these. I kind of wait for the show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I'm going to see how he reacts. And he was pretty hot. I do understand that. I'd be furious. Now, I don't know what the people that didn't like that, I don't know what they wanted him to say. Did they want him to say, it's on me, I'll wear this one? He's going, if he hasn't proven it yet, he's going to blindly defend his players. We've said it a million times. It's not going to change. He's not going to throw Wandy Peralta under the bus, which, by the way, is the right move. That's the right move. If you make a mistake, Paulie, on the air, I'm not going to pound you for it because I know you're going to do a better job tomorrow and move on. And I like that in a manager. I do. We talked to Jake Cronenworth yesterday on this program when you asked him about what's different. And he goes, Skipper has our backs. Yeah. Like, Skipper has our backs. He pulls for us. It's what he's got to do, man, in the span of a long season. He's got to have his guys back. If he gets on there and goes, yeah, Wandy was terrible. He's got to execute, and Campy's got to catch that ball, and, we just asked the bed. I don't know how well that goes. Now, there's probably a time for that, but it's not right now. It's not at 14-14, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
You may think different.
And we want to hear from you, listeners, Tier 1s, Padres fans. Call in 833-288-0973. That was a bit of a polarizing, probably the most polarizing post-game presser we've had to this point in the young season from Mike Shildt. I was fairly indifferent. You were telling me, like, yeah, people love it, people hate it. And I'm like, I certainly didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
I also didn't, love it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm ready to run through a wall right now. It felt like passionate coach speak. Yeah, passionate manager speak. We just haven't played our best baseball.
See,
guys are battling. That's baseball, but with more oomph,
with a little more juice to it,
a little more passion behind it.
Yeah.
And then he also throws in, Jackson's got a little ouchie, which made me laugh.
I laughed my ass off. The fact
that
Jackson's like, huh?
He was clearly not happy, and then he just drops in little ouchie. Like, what?
Yeah, Wesley.
Little ouchie?
Yeah, well, Wesley says the manager looks great when pitchers get outs and horrible when they don't. It's easy to second guess what happens. It is, sure. The hindsight managers. I'm one of them. We all are. It's okay. It's part of being a baseball fan.
Ultimately, though, him riding for his guys is, I think, the most important part. And that's not a slight at any other manager in baseball, any of our previous managers.
No, it's not a
slight. But when
slight.
you're hearing it from a guy like Jake Cronenworth yesterday, and you're clearly seeing these guys have more fight in them than they've had in recent memory.
Yeah, they do, and that's all fine and good too. And I have friends that can't stand Mike Shildt, and I have friends that absolutely love him. It's true. That's the nature of being a baseball fan. So I myself, I liked it. We got a caller on the line?
We got a couple
all right,
here.
Let's get to some tier ones. Let's see how you guys are feeling today and where you stand on all of this.
We're going blind here. Is this
here we go.
Jesus?
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Morning, buddy.
Yeah, it was a tough loss, but my quick question is, if Shildt is saying that it wasn't working with our starting pitcher, but yet De Los Santos comes and is having a good inning, why take him out in an inning, not even an inning and a half? Why? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a good question too. Listen, there's 162 of these bad boys that they got to play. They're in that streak of 13 games in 13 days. You have it was a close game at that time, and NL did his job. And I think that's when a manager says, "I need you to get us out of this inning where they're threatening." You did your job, and you more than did your job if you're Eniel De Los Santos. I mean, he only threw 14 pitches. Now, if a guy's cruising like that, I mean, listen, the only thing I can think of is if you need Eniel De Los Santos tonight, maybe he's good for an inning tonight, and you have to be managing a game at a time. Again, it was a 2-run lead at that point. He came in, did his job. You got to turn it over to the next guy sometime. Again, easy to say when you see a guy throwing that well to go, hell, just leave him in to finish the game. I'm kind of with you, but he's also has to play the long game. That's my semi-educated guess on that, Jesus. And but yeah, it was a tough one, and it was a tough night for Wandy Peralta. The guy looked like somebody killed his dog sitting on the bench. He looked like he was shell shocked that it got away from him so quick.
I love this. We have full phone lines.
I love this too.
Morning, so we're gonna go. Let's see. Next up, we got Thomas. I think.
All right, Thomas. Keep it relatively quick. We can also hold through the break too. But what do you got for us?
Good morning, guys.
Morning, bud.
What a devastating loss.
So bad.
So it's said that you can't win the division in April, but you sure can. Don't you think these are the kind of games that you look back at the end of the year? If we miss the playoffs by one game, isn't this like a game that you'll look back and say, we should have won?
I thought the same thing. I almost tweeted too. Well, not like this one's going to come back to haunt us. And then my brain kind of kicked in for a second, Thomas, and I go, all right, we've won a couple of games that we definitely should have lost. Again, hoping it all evens out in the end. It's just hard. They just don't build on momentum. It's like one step forward, 2 steps back. Or not even 2 steps. They go 1 step forward, right back to even. 1 step forward, right back to even. You want to get on a little streak. This team is like impervious to good, solid, fundamental baseball for more than a day in a row. And that's what needs to be cleaned up, in my opinion. So I do think we've already seen in 28 games, Thomas and everybody else, we have already seen things even out for the Padres more than it did all of last year. Really, I feel that way.
Like that was a win that you let get away.
Yep. And you won.
Took an L. But I would guess if we went back to February and said, all right, you got 6 games in the first 2 weeks against the Dodgers. How do you think that's going to go?
Right. You'd probably say 1-5.
1-5, maybe 2-4.
Maybe.
You got 3-3, right?
No, I think they're 4-2.
Were they 4-2?
I think so.
I thought they split in Korea and then they took 2 out of 3, so 3-3.
Yeah.
Look, that's one that you maybe stole one that you weren't expecting. So it does kind of even out.
You got to beat those crap teams. You have to. You got to beat those guys. And again, you beat them twice, but you gave 2 right back. a literal wash on that trip. And I know it's going to stick in their craw, or it did stick in their craw. It's not going to anymore. They got to get ready for Philly tonight, and they're going to be facing some nasty, nasty arms this weekend. And, we'll talk about that as well. I love that you guys are calling in right now.
Stay on the line. We'll take some calls in our next segment.
We do got to take we're 4-3 against the Dodgers right now. So I'll take that for sure. But we're also 2-2 against the Rockies. So, it's just hard to get any momentum going right now. This team is allergic to momentum at all. So we'll talk about that. Stay on the line, please. And we will get your calls right after the break. We'll be right back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being active. Thanks for being passionate about our San Diego Padres. An executive decision has been made. We are going to bang take on Woods because I want to talk to the tier ones out there, place for you to vent, beat us up, whatever you want to do. All right, we're here for you. 833-288-0973. Now, take on what's usually brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Takes only 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I did it 2 weeks ago, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience.
I was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They are great.
Absolutely loved it. So let's go back to the phones, man. I want to hear from you guys out there. And again, to correct, we were 3-2 against the Dodgers. I don't know why that was so hard for us, but we did finally get it dialed in.
Memory is not great.
Math is not great. Memory is not great. 3-2 against the LA Dodgers.
I think the point still remains, though.
Yeah,
that's better than you would have
thought.
probably thought you were going to do.
Correct.
And so you may have stolen one there that you weren't expecting, and then you lose one in Colorado that you should have won, and it kind of just evens
it all evens out. Again.
I mean, my God, what was Vegas's prediction? 82.5
or 81.5, somewhere around there,
like right in there. And I'm like, 14-14.
We're on pace.
They win tonight. They're 15-14. Like they're right there until they go on a little bit of a run.
Yes, or a dramatic
one way or
lose
the other.
again.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but let's keep it rolling here with the phones. I am loving hearing from all of you guys this morning. We will go to, is this Max calling in?
Yep.
Max, good morning.
Hey, good morning, boys. Hey, that game was super tough yesterday. And, it was just like the fourth out of the 4 games after a long competitive stretch. We had to go out of town. We had to play the Cubs. We had to play L.A. This was our 4th starter and, maybe our 5th or 6th. And they were talking about how, his performance didn't allow him to be that starter. And once we lost, our starting pitch. Yeah, we lost you. It kind of filled in a gap. We were kind of surprised to be up 9-4 in that game.
I felt that too.
After a 4-game stretch, our bullpen was beat up. They were exhausted. For them to throw Wandy, for them to throw Matsui was very shocking after they played him game 3. The 3 or 4 games that we need, for the end of the season that you were talking about. I think I lose them maybe with Shildt, and that's why his decisions in the bullpen, and that's why we wanted to take accountability, but I think you said it right. We are a little competitive. We're allergic to getting momentum. I think we still have to figure out the looming elephant in the room of Ha-Seong Kim and his production on the field and in the batting box.
Kimmy's been playing much better. I mean, he hit a bomb yesterday. Kimmy is on the. He
definitely is looking better.
He's looking better. He's not necessarily, and that's fine.
He looked a little lost, and I don't know if you want to put too much weight on the Korea trip and how much that maybe took out of him. It was just a whirlwind for him, I'm sure, for at least a week. But he just never seemed to really get off to a good start. He just looked like he was a step behind on everything. I mean, he is really coming around.
He's pulled his average up. I mean, it's still pretty paltry right now. His OBP is 339. His slug is 436. He's coming around, not chasing a lot. Again, I know a lot of people are calling for him to be potentially, moving to the leadoff spot. I don't know. I mean, the lineup construction thing. Look, at the end of the day, I got a text yesterday that really summed it up for me from somebody that I just adore, and he's a frequent guest in this program. And he says, here's what we know after a month. Padres can score runs sometimes. Padres can pitch well sometimes. Pods can field well sometimes. That's why we're 500. If we want to be above 500, we have to do things well more often than we have. The only silver lining we have, with the exception of the Rockies, we played pretty good teams. Haven't had the luxury of the White Sox, Angels, Astros, Marlins, or A's. Shildt has to stand by his club. He has to have their backs. I like the way he sounds scrappy about fight and hustle. We are where we are. And I've never been a big fan of it. It is what it is. I don't like using that in an argument with my wife. I don't like when she flips that around on me and tells me it is what it is.
Feels like a bit of a give up.
Feels like a little bit of a give up, a little bit of a punt. But tempering expectations kind of goes out the window a little bit when you have a 9-4 lead. It does. You're like, no, this is a dub. Book it. This is a dub. 3 out of 4. Great job. Come on home. Tough team in the Phillies.
Anything less is a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, again, a disaster would be swept, winning one game, but a split against that team just sucks, man. It just sucks, straight up. There's a lot of holes on this team. The construction in the bullpen is a little odd with 4 left-handed relievers. None of them are your closer. It's very strange. Stephen Kolek, a Rule 5 guy. There are guys waiting that are dominating right now in the minor leagues. I don't know what I will never pretend to know what an organization is thinking, right? About, hey, we need to call this guy up or that guy up and send this guy down. And I don't want to pick on Stephen Kolek. He is a Rule 5 guy, meaning if you let him go, he's gone. You don't send him down. You can't send him down. He's got to stay on the big league roster, and you'll lose him. You got to send him back to the Seattle Mariners. I guess my answer is, they like, Shildt has talked about him before. He likes that he can get a ground ball from time to time. But, man, you feel like you can find another Stephen Kolek. You feel like you might have people in the minor leagues that are better than Stephen Kolek right now. So the hanging on to a player unnecessarily, it doesn't make any sense to me if you're trying to win now. And by all accounts, that's what they keep saying. They're trying to win now. This is not some development year. If it were, you'd see Graham Pauley in the lineup every day, right? That's
see what you got.
See what you got. Okay? Jackson Merrill has established himself as a starter. I hope he's healthy. Hope he's back in the lineup tonight. Desperately need him in center field. The bench is very thin. It has not been addressed. Those are the things that you look at as a fan and go, all right, man, the results on the field are one thing, but you can make moves to help improve your team. And I don't know why you would worry, really, if you had to let Stephen Kolek go. You feel like he can be replaced and maybe replaced with somebody better. That was another thought I had yesterday, but that text made a lot of sense to me. We do things well sometimes, and not enough. Not enough consistency from this team. Offensively, defensively, pitching. The bullpen had been so good. I do think you chalk some of it up to inflated ERAs when you have a 4-game set in Colorado, certainly. But again, you got to win that game yesterday. You got to win that game. You got to find a way. Somebody needs to step up and make sure that thing does not get out of hand. And ultimately, that falls on the skipper. And I think he knows that. Yeah. So
you're sitting at 500, and they've had some incredible comeback games that you thought were losses that turned into wins. It's just been few and far between where all 3 aspects, pitching, offense, defense, have really been firing on all cylinders all at once.
Yep.
Either you're winning 9-7 and the pitching staff gave up a ton of runs that you had to make up or something like that, or you booted a few balls, the game got closer than it should have been. It's been few and far between where the offense just pummels the starting pitcher, the defense is flawless, and your guy goes and gives you 7, 3-hit innings.
It just doesn't happen enough. It just doesn't happen enough, and that's what good teams do. This team is a mediocre team. This team is mediocre because their record says they're mediocre. They're 14-14. That's
what your record
the
says
definition of mediocre. Have had some great games. Have had some crap games. Have had some very average games. Have had games like yesterday. Yesterday sucked. There's no bright side in yesterday's game. Literally, the only bright spot was finally hitting a couple of bombs, and Enyel De Los Santos was outstanding. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Again, the most dominant relief inning I've seen in maybe since I started watching Padres baseball. So that's something to I guess be happy about. But other than that, man, it is such a bummer to lose that game. Got more callers on the line?
Yeah, let's go to is Luis.
Hey guys, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy.
Listen, I just had this one thing year after year. I just think the Rockies have our number, man. You know how there's some teams that we're a good team. The Padres are a good team. The Rockies are not, but they have our number. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they do it, but these guys come to play against us every single time. Now, I'm not going to be too upset about that loss yesterday. We should have won it, absolutely. But wait till the end of the season. Let's see how these couple of losses, we handle these couple of losses at the end of the season, where if it makes us or breaks us for the playoffs or something like that. Let's just call it what it is, man. Colorado has our number.
They do. And I said it last week. I'm sick to death. Playing the Dodgers is one thing. They have a really good team. They've got a, solid pitching rotation. They've got a nastiest 1 through maybe 5 in baseball. You're like, all right, I'm obviously nervous about that game, but if we lose, they spent $1 billion. They're almost supposed to beat everyone. You can't go on and lose to the Rockies. Those are the games that scare me to death. And again, to blow that lead in the 8th inning is just brutal. It's brutal. Brutal for the team, brutal for the fans. I know that they've moved on. I know that the skipper's moved on. We'll talk to him in a couple of hours. You know, I wonder if there's a better way to ask Mike Shildt about when the entire world thinks that you maybe left a guy in too long. And he doesn't need to explain his reasoning again. He told us in spring training, I like the hard questions. It gives me a chance to explain myself. He explained it yesterday. What do you say to that response? The one,
you're wrong.
The one about Wandy? Play it again, Paul, in case you guys missed it. They asked him, why did you leave Wandy Peralta in so long?
Concern versus, that's just, you just chalk that one up to.
I don't have any concern. I'm going to tell you what, I walked out of this ballpark, there's some agitation because we didn't win the game. And I'm going to tell you what I walk out of this ballpark with. A couple things. A bunch of gamers that showed up without one of our better players in Manny, which, you know, rightfully so. He's having a baby. We had Jackson, who, you know, little ouchie, want to stay away from it. We had guys all over the field playing their asses off and going out and stepping up and getting after it every day. A bunch of gamers stepping up all across the board. And I'm going to tell you what, I'll run Wandy Peralta out there any and every day in the 8th inning with the lead. Okay? It doesn't work sometimes. But I can tell you what, this group, outside of the result at the end of the day, the heart and the competitive spirit and those guys getting after everything they've got, it doesn't work out every time. But I'll take this group any day of the week because I got a bunch of winning gamers. Take that over the long haul.
So should I ask the first question? Hey, why'd you leave Wandy in for so long? Just see if he'll jump through the phone and strangle me the next time he sees me. Yeah. Hey, Skip, just really one question from me. Wandy Peralta again? What were you thinking there? Yeah, tough one. Man. Tough one. We got time for maybe one more, Paulie.
Yeah, let's see. Is this Ira?
Yep.
Good morning, Ira.
Good morning, y'all. You know, I've been an employer since '87, and somewhere along the line, I crossed paths with somebody who said to me, as far as managing style, he said, praise in public, reprimand in private, and let people know what's expected of them. Really? So I think that Shildt has got that innately, or whatever. Maybe he crossed paths with the same guy, but he understands this, and I think it's so important, especially the reprimand in private part. And I love Shildt. I love the way he leads. I love the way he talks. I would play hard for him in a heartbeat. And as far as the loss goes, you know, rationalizing it to, you know, well, it's going to even out in the end and all that. It's like you're up at the blackjack table, $3,000. You give it back to them, and you say, well, it was house money anyway. Garbage. It was yours.
I've done that, man. You got to know when
yours. Once you got it, it's yours. You lost your money, not the house money. So
Ira,
stop watering it down, guys.
Ira,
we lost a bad game. Let's get over it, and let's move on.
Ira, you can't walk away in the 8th inning up $3,000. You got to get those last few outs. I don't know that anybody's rationalized it. I think, honestly, I've said over and over today, you can't lose that game. You just can't. You know, you cannot lose that. And it's you have.
Thanks for the call, though, Ira. I loved what you said about, you know,
I love it.
Praise publicly, reprimand privately.
That's what I do to Paulie. Yeah. I praise him publicly, and when the mics go off, you son of a bitch.
10:02.
Idiot.
I'm hiding. I have to hide.
Paulie's cowering in the corner. No, I like that. But I think maybe rationalizing is the right word. You're going to lose some games that you shouldn't, and you're going to win some games. I was trying to relate it to last year. You felt like you didn't win any of those games. You had no comebacks. You had no late inning heroics, really, for most of the season.
Yeah.
That's the only rationalization I was making is from this year to last year.
There's rationalizing, and then there's
sugarcoating.
Copium.
Yeah, copium. Sure, all of that. And when I think about last year, and again, I'm going to stand by this, still a better product than I saw last year. It is. I'm sorry. I mean, that's exactly how I feel. I enjoy watching this team immensely more than I did last year. So that's one man's perspective, guys. So we got Don't Do This coming up next, and Adam Klug is our boss. He's from the Atlanta area. He's almost inconsolable about what the Atlanta Falcons did last night in the NFL draft. We've gone an hour and 15 minutes without mentioning the draft. We'll get into a record. We'll get into some of that next. Pretty curious reports coming out of Atlanta as well. And we'll talk about that today. Also, we've got some great audio for Do This.
Yeah, Mr. Eyewash maybe, but actually has a really good idea, something I'm all in favor of.
Max Scherzer speaking on how we fix the umpires in Major League Baseball. Really good audio coming up next. Thanks for being here. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sereno Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com, highly recommended by the Ben and Woods program. Listen, we don't...
Hey, real quick, we had a lot of callers in that last segment that didn't get on.
Yeah.
We'll take some calls in the next segment up until 8 o'clock after Don't Do This, so stick around.
Stick around. We'll get to you. Trust me, it's Friday. We're loose. We're having fun-ish. Here on the program. We rarely go to the phones for Don't Do This, but I had to get the opinion of our noted.
We just scolded him for tweeting to Tony Gwynn Jr.
Right, about
after
the Lakers.
a bad sports moment. You're blasting him on the radio.
But I wanted his analysis. It's our boss, Adam Klug, a big Falcons guy. Good morning, Adam. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're good. I saw you going through it last night on Twitter. Now, what I didn't do is text you or tweet you about what a terrible decision. You know, there's that old saying.
Because that would have been uncouth,
Correct.
But this is okay, having it on the radio instead.
This is fine. I want your analysis because they always say don't be the main character on Twitter. I think the same goes for the draft. Don't be the main character in the draft that people go, what in the world were they thinking? And your Atlanta Falcons, I'm telling you, Adam, I'm running through the first few picks going, got their guy, got their guy, got their guy, got their guy.
Yep.
You get to the Falcons, you go, what? What just happened? They're getting roasted right now. So they drafted Michael Penix Jr.,
who I like a lot.
Of course.
I think he's going to be, at some point,
See, I don't. That's the other part about this, though, Paul. I don't like him. I ripped him all during college football season. I think he's got a funky throwing motion. I just don't like him.
He's a nice, you don't like his game. Let's not. He's probably a nice kid.
Correct. I'm sure he's a very nice person. Sure his family likes him. I don't like the prospect.
Okay.
And that's before you get to the idea they gave $100 million to Kirk Cousins to play quarterback, and this kid's about to turn 24 next week, and he's going to sit on the bench for 2 or 3 years.
Allegedly. I think my main beef with it, and I think, Kirk Cousins' main beef with it was you just gave me $100 million, and you take a quarterback in the first round. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're not trying to plan for year 3 or 4. Get me an offensive lineman. Get me a defensive lineman. Get me a wide receiver. Get me a tight end. It's a wasted pick, in my opinion, and I know you feel the same way.
I feel the exact same way. Couldn't agree with you more. And it all came on the heels of what our beloved Padres did yesterday. So, yes, I was going through it yesterday.
I feel that, man, very much. Yeah, like I said, the main character in the draft is not something you want to be. Now, I saw some video of Falcons GM in deep conversation with owner Arthur Blank. And it looked in this video like he was having to justify what he just did. Do you think there's any chance, though, that a GM makes a pick without the owner's approval, Adam? Do you think he picked that and then had to go explain himself?
I don't think a pick like this. I think the owner was. I think everybody was in on the pick. I think they're all wrong. I think it's one of those things you see on Twitter, like with the memes, like what opinion do you have?
Yeah.
That everybody else, it's got everybody pointing swords at you or whatever. Like this is that. This is a we're smarter than everybody else pick, right? This is the owner, the GM, the coach, everyone basically being like, no, we're right and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah. It's very arrogant. I get that. Well, I'm sorry. John wants to know, was it extra sweet because it was a wasted draft pick in the first round? And I think I know your answer.
No.
Sorry, buddy.
No, it wasn't.
Thank you for jumping on with us. I know you're upset. Life will go on. Life will be fine.
Love you guys.
Love you too, buddy. Appreciate you.
Love you guys.
I love you.
Love you
It's
too.
the great Adam Klug joining us. Man, what a rough night for him. Yeah, totally main character stuff yesterday.
I mean, everything I was seeing, which wasn't a ton, I wasn't doing a ton of mock draft coverage all week, but I was late first round, early second round for Penix, and see him go 8 to a team that just gave a quarterback $100 million. I mean, honestly, that's the don't do this. Probably giving Kirk Cousins $100 million, but that was a don't do this from a few months ago.
Yeah, and again, where you drafted him, I think, is the problem. And again, you needed help elsewhere that you could have
another team that just got a quarterback was the Denver Broncos, and they drafted Bo Nix after just acquiring Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But Zach Wilson, you didn't bring him in with a $100 million
Right.
long-term
Yeah, he's
deal.
a flyer.
They're gonna compete with each other, and we'll see what happens. But you signed Kirk Cousins to be the guy.
Yeah.
For 4 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, what's Penix's role then?
Their GM said Falcons GM suggests Michael Penix could sit 4 or 5 years
my
behind
God.
Kirk Cousins. It's just again, you could have had a wide receiver, you could have had one of those beastly tight ends, you could have had
Big
a
lineman to protect your new
lineman to
quarterback.
protect him. It's just a dumb move. All right, that's a kind of a long don't do this. Let's get right into do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
Yeah, this was a couple of days ago. Max Scherzer on a rehab start. We talked about that, and he was talking with the media there, which is always fun when you see a major league superstar in his minor league uniforms talking with the local media there. And they were asking him about the umpire situation, robot umpires. Is that the answer?
We did it yesterday on the roundtable. We did a deep dive into umpiring. We have on this show, and all of us kind of agree. Umpiring now is better than it used to be. We do agree. The pitchers are very good.
It's better than it used to be. It also feels like it's worse than it's ever been because the technology is so good that we know whether or not every call is right or
Yeah,
wrong.
pretty much. And they asked Max Scherzer how you fix umpiring. I love
This
it.
answer surprised
It
me.
was great.
You know, when you talk enough guys that we want the human element of the game. The human element of the game is good, and we need to keep that in baseball. And I figure we've done so much in baseball to try to remove the human element. And so for me, going forward, of how I kind of conceptualize what the electronic strike zone should be is really we need to rank the umpires. Let the electronic strike zone rank the umpires, and then we need to have a conversation about the bottom. Let's call it 10% or whatever you want to declare the bottom is, and talk about relegating those umpires to the minor leagues and getting in the best umpires in the game. That way the umpires are going against themselves. It's still a human element of how we rank the umpires, that it's amongst themselves, and that policing kind of the bottom is the way to go. When I'm out there pitching, if you told me I had the 10th best umpire or the 75th best umpire, you don't really notice too much between that because they're really good at their jobs. The umpires are actually really good. It's really the bottom umpires that we all kind of have a problem with. And so if there was a mechanism in order to make the umpires on the bottom better, I think that would be a better way to address this.
Well, they certainly have a mechanism when a player comes up and doesn't do his job. They cut him or they send him down, and
Relegate him to the minors.
That's pretty much exactly what he's saying. Like it works for us.
Nobody's upset with the top 10%. It's
No.
the bottom.
No.
I think 10% is a good number.
I do too.
However many umpires there are in Major League Baseball, the 10 worst percentage of umpires, you go down to the minor leagues. Sorry about it. Figure it out.
Sucks.
And then you bring the 10%, the best 10% up from AAA. And yeah, like he just said, it makes those umpires compete against each other to keep their job, to stay on the show, just like a player. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I wonder, I doubt very much the MLB UA would sign off on that. I mean, you'd have to give a lot of concessions to get them to agree to, be accountable for a bad game or a bad series or whatever. But I'm certainly down to try. We suggested yesterday, because I think we all agreed. I said it too, and I've said it many times. I don't have the right temperament for it. And getting chirped all day would be annoying after a while. That being said, throwing a Jerks and Profar out of a game in the first inning, or throwing a Manny Machado out of the game in the first inning, or a Bryce Harper, whoever it may be, it's happened to the biggest stars in the game before. Yes, some of it falls on the player, but what about like in soccer, football, where they go, you got a yellow card, bro, zip your lip. Seriously, like a formal warning. Basketball, technical.
Yep.
You're
Not
one
a double
more,
tech.
not a double tech, technical. You be on
One
your best.
more and you're done.
Be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Now, knowing umpires, they'd hand those. They'd run out of yellow cards. You know how that the kid has to run the baseballs out? They'd have a kid with a box of yellow cards running them out. That's how sensitive they've gotten right now. But I'm so down to see that because I'm going to the game tonight. Here's the thing: I don't want to see Bryce Harper thrown out in the first inning. I'm a paying customer. I want to see Bryce Harper play. I want to see Manny play. I want to see Jerks and Profar play. I want to see Tatis play. Don't throw these guys out of the game. Figure out a way to keep them in the game. So if it's a formal warning that you need to do, great. If you're having a crap season, you need to be sent to the minors, just like a player that's having a crap season probably will as well. So that is don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, you guys still got people calling in. They want to talk about this Padres team. There's some people in the chat absolutely going through it right now. They are just going through it, just vomiting negativity, which is fine. That's you get it off your chest, all right? Call us now. That's what we're here for, 833-288-0973. A reminder, Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue is going to come on at 8. Kyle Glazer is going to come into the studio and hang out, talk some more Padres and baseball in general. And we'll be joined by the skipper, Mike Shildt, in about an hour and a half. Looking forward to that conversation. Wonder what kind of mood.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
We're good, buddy. How you doing? You feeling better?
Yeah, of course.
I'm interested to see where this thing goes. He flushed it. I promise you he flushed it.
I bet he even laughs at himself a little bit.
I bet he does. Do I rip the scab off again, or do I just keep going?
Got an hour and a half to decide.
Infect the wound. All right, we'll be back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you on a Friday morning. Looking forward to the weekend. Going to head to the game tonight. Check out Padres Phillies, taking both of my little devils with me. I don't know why I signed up for that tonight, but Hannah's going to be busy. I said, I'll take them to the game. Got a Seals game tomorrow. Got a Tier 1 game on Sunday, 1 o'clock, Rancho Buena Vista High, home of Dave Roberts,
Ooh.
where he went to...
Ben's buddy.
We blew a game there in the late innings, so it was like
Ben, you do a great job.
It was like the ghost of Dave Roberts was there.
Yeah.
So, interesting place to play. All right, let's check traffic. We'll get to more of your phone calls.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple problems here. Hit and run crash on the El Camino Real off-ramp, eastbound 78. Now getting reports of a collision on southbound 15 at the 163. That's blocking the slow lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome back.
Oh, hi. We're back already.
We are back.
We are back. Got some callers on the line?
Yeah, let's see. Arturo's been calling in. We'll start with him. What's up, Arturo? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Obviously a big fan of your show. Thank you guys for what you do. I listen to you guys every day at work. I just want to let you guys know I do agree what Wiz was saying about what the skipper was saying that he has the team's back and Peralta, what he did and all that.
Yeah.
I just want to know that in the long run, to keep it from, what happened last season, take it day by day. I mean, stop the momentum. It looks like we're going to lose the game. I mean, they're actually coming back. They hit that home run. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, same thought.
Yeah, blame it on Colorado. We could bring up a lot of scapegoats, but this is happening lately. And I don't know. I just it's a little frustrating. Like, you got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I think a lot of people felt the same way of stopping the bleeding. I've said it a million times. Baseball looks like such a slow sport. It really does. It looks like a slow sport. Grind this guy out, 4 pitches, 9 pitches to this batter. For some reason, whatever reason, the game speeds up on managers, speeds up on players. No excuse. Mike Shilt's got to know. He's got to know in that case. I understand what you're saying, play for today. Robert Suarez has been incredible, and he's doing it 7 pitches the night before. So you do wonder, why wasn't Suarez available? Was there something that we don't know? Did he, tweak a knee or, I'm a little bit sore.
Yeah.
Like if you can stay away from me today.
That's a fair question to ask.
I think it's a very fair question to ask. And again, I always subscribe to the fact that we don't know everything that there is to know, and we never will. And no sports radio host does, and nobody knows but the skipper, the GM, and the players what was discussed before the game as far as the strategy to deploy guys through that game. It's the only thing I can think of is that, hey, we didn't want to use them 4 out of 5 days. If you tell me that's the answer, I got no choice but to say, all right. I mean, what am I going to do?
Wrong.
Wrong. Right. That's not right. You should have used him there. Okay. I mean, hindsight being 20/20, I wonder if he would have. It's hard. It's easy for us to say, you got to play for today's win. And you do have to figure out how to win a 9-4 game in the 8th inning. Period. You do.
But your big league relief pitchers should be able to handle that.
They should. And you should not have to go to your closer in that situation.
That should be a day off for Robert Suarez.
And they didn't. They didn't go to him.
Yeah.
So they stuck to whatever plan they had. It backfired. Didn't work. Trusted a veteran in Wandy Peralta.
Look, if they're up 3-2 and going into the 9th, I bet you see Robert Suarez.
That's it's good.
Up
I mean,
9-4, you shouldn't need him.
Yeah, you don't even want to bother getting him hot.
Right.
But again, it speeds up quick. Next thing you know, it's 9-7. Next thing you know, Campy drops the ball. Next thing you know, and it's like, oh God, this is the last thing any of us wanted. It's the last thing Wandy Peralta wanted, and the last thing the skipper wanted. I hate it. I hate it for them. I hate it for Wandy, who's been really good, was really good all season. And, I hate it for the skipper, and I hate it for Padres fans. I hate it for myself. I was pissed. You don't think I would have rather come in here this morning and been like, hell yeah, 3 out of 4 from the Colorado Rockies. Let's rage on a Friday. Get ready for the Phillies. No, you got to sit and pick this scab all day. It's exactly what happens. But, they flushed it. We need to flush it. Move on to the Philly series. We will ask Mike Shildt about all this coming up at 9 a.m. You got more calls on the line?
Yeah, let's go to Mike.
Firing today.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. So, while I did tell you this was an inexcusable loss, Woods, there's a couple things. One, I think, first of all, I like this team much better than I enjoy watching this team.
So much
more. They play baseball.
So much more. It's weird.
They play baseball. And that's why, if you listen to Mud when he's on the broadcast and he says baseball, like that's his code word of saying they're playing the game correctly. They're playing the game right.
Yep.
Look, you can have a team full of stars all you want, but that doesn't mean you're going to win every game, right? Like, look at the Rangers last year. They weren't, a team full of stars. It's how a team is compiled as a whole, right? The second thing I called about was about Shildt, and I wanted him to just rip. I wanted him to rip the players and get after it. But you know what he did? I went in there and I was not disappointed after I heard him talk. I was actually really satisfied. I was surprised because he backed his players. He showed some heart. He showed some spine. He showed some guts. Like, he's got that dog in him other than, snoozing Bob, who was, sleeping through press conferences last year. I like Shildt. I like this team. I think everybody needs to just relax. 14-14 is all right. We're okay. It's still April. And I know we shouldn't say that because of the trauma from last year, but at the same time, guys, this is a different baseball team, and they situationally play good baseball.
Yeah, and again, just not enough of it. Too inconsistent, Mike. Thank you for the call. It's funny, too, because Mike actually triggered a thought in my head last night. I DM with Mike a lot. Big Padres fan. Great dude. Great human being. He said that this loss is inexcusable. Now, I didn't respond this to him, but I did call Paulie, and we were talking about today's show, and I go, we are so funny as baseball fans, man. For something to be inexcusable, that means that you're done watching. You're done.
Right.
It's inexcusable. It can't happen. It's inexcusable. I'm not going to excuse you. That means, by the letter of the definition, the letter of the law, right. Mike Shildt's fired.
Yeah, inexcusable.
Inexcusable. You're not watching Padres baseball anymore.
You're gone.
You're gone. You're done. You're cut. I'm cutting you today. Inexcusable is such a funny word to use when talking about baseball, especially baseball, because those guys are gearing up for another game today.
We're talking hyperboles a lot.
Yeah, we do. Sports fans.
Yesterday was the best day ever. Really? It was the best day you've ever had. The best
game they've ever played?
Ever possibly draw it up. Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's funny,
Congratulations.
Man. It is funny how we do it. It's not Mike. That is not directed at you.
No.
I saw that 75,000 times yesterday. It is inexcusable. Is it? Or are you going to watch tonight? You're basically you're giving them an excuse. You're going to watch. You're going to tune in tonight, and you are going to be just as fired up tonight when Kimmy hits another home run or Crony yaks one into the porch. You're excused. You're always excused. Win or lose, we excuse you. I don't know of any fan that has ever said, that's it. I'm done. And actually stuck to it. You creep your ass back and watch those games.
Like, what's ever happened in sports? Like Bartman or something with the Cubs. And a Cubs fan was like, I'm done. I'm burning my jerseys. I'm never watching this team again. I'm effing done.
I would love to interview somebody that, you know what's funny?
A Falcons fan after 28-3. That's inexcusable. I'm out.
There is a contingent of people, and they do reside here in San Diego, and I know some of them, that simply do not consume the NFL product in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, like, even the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Chargers left, they said, that's it.
I had a little bit of that in me.
I watch it. I'll watch it now. I mean, I wasn't a huge Charger fan, so I didn't really care. I didn't care, but it didn't affect me as it did, people that have gone to games for generations here in San Diego. I still watch the NFL product, but there are people that I know that are like, when the day that they moved, I was done with the NFL. I now have my Sundays back. I have my Mondays back. I have my Thursdays back. I have my life back.
I get it, too.
I don't watch the product anymore. That's really the only exception. When it comes to baseball, I think that would be a ridiculous sentiment to not excuse a team after blowing a 9-4 lead, right? You'll be back tonight, and you'll be pulling your ass off for them, and I will too. We all will. I'm going to try my best to stop speaking in hyperboles. I'm bad at it. I mean, I do it all the friggin' time. I really do. This guy's best I've ever seen. He's not. You know, we do that a lot. Oh, yeah. We do that a lot. But I don't know. I would say don't give up on the 14-14 Padres just yet. If you are enjoying the product, and it sounds like you are, it's a bummer of a loss. It sucks. I hated every second of it. You know, especially the last 2 innings were brutal. I hate that they went down in order in the 9th. Made me sick. But you knew it. You absolutely knew they were not mounting a comeback there.
You just could feel it.
You 100% knew it. So thank you for calling, Mike. I love you. You're one of my favorite people. So keep those DMs coming. Anybody else on the line?
Yeah, you can keep it rolling.
Oh my God! All right, yeah, why not?
I haven't had a chance to screen this one. Is this Nick? You're on the air, caller.
Nico.
Hey, Nico. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Big fan of your guys' show.
Thank you.
I will say, yesterday, man, after listening to it on the fan, it was crazy. I almost turned it off because I thought we had it in the bag.
Yep.
And, you know, turn it back on and you realize now we lost the game.
It was awful.
within that at least 30 minutes after the game, I was super raging and just pissed off. But after hearing Shildt's post-game interview, it kind of gave me the spark of like, hey, this is kind of to be expected from this team that's still trying to build its chemistry, especially on the road, and identity. But hearing Mike Shildt kind of just back up his players and saying that I'm going to ride them no matter what, gives me that boost of confidence that, hey, like, this is something new that we haven't really experienced in the last 3 years. And more so, just super hyped for tonight's game. I'm going to tonight's game, so hopefully it sparks the Padres to come off that bad tasting loss and really kind of steal one against the Phillies.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate you guys taking my call.
Appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you very much. And I feel the same way. You know, I was the 16 minutes, man, is going to be the mantra for me. Pete Fairbanks, after blowing
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
Yep. And the beauty of this game that we all love so much and hate so much in our soul is that there's always another game until there's not. You still got plenty of time to either figure it out or establish the identity that you're just not a very good team. Because as it stands right now, 14-14, you're a mediocre baseball club with some really cool moments, some really special players,
and some really crappy moments,
and some very, very crappy moments, highlighted, of course, by yesterday's pretty brutal loss. I loved hearing from the Tier 1s so much today. Got to shift gears a little bit into the second half of the show, which is going to be a blast. Jordan Schusterman's going to join us from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Such a great, great baseball man. And a lot to talk about with him. A lot going on in the game. You saw, I saw somebody tweet me like, hey, man, the A's just took 2 of 4 from the Yankees. Like, weird things are happening right now in baseball. It's no solace to either Yankee fans or Padre fans, but these are the games that you look at and go, all right, well, we've dug ourselves into a little bit more of a hole. Now, I think the most important thing watching this team, how do they respond this weekend at home? That's what I want to know, because Padres fans have been filling Petco Park with record numbers of people, and I'll bet you anything tonight is going to be absolutely jamming at Petco Park. It's going to be full.
Can't wait.
I probably won't see a pitch. I will be there in attendance. I probably won't see a pitch. I'm taking my 6-year-old and my 3-year-old, and they love the new Gallagher Square. I mean, like you wouldn't believe. Well done on that. Also, kind of, you've made it so nice that they don't want to go sit in their seats and watch the actual game. So I don't. What time do doors open, Paulie? Like, when's the earliest I could go in?
4:30 or 5 o'clock.
So what I'm thinking is, and it's a 6:40, 6:40 start. I'm thinking that we show up when the doors open. We go straight out to Gallagher, run these little dudes like Marines out there. Let them run, get them their food, and hopefully they'll chill. We've got seats right next to you and Megan tonight.
Yep, we'll help you out.
You can have them both, and I'll go walk around and say hello to people. You guys can a little parenthood fantasy camp. You down for that? No. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. I'll go have a few beers with the fellas. I can't. I'll be driving, obviously. I'll go walk around, see some Tier 1, anything.
God, we almost did that a couple of years ago.
Fantasy camp?
Yeah. No, you and Hannah were going to go somewhere.
Yeah, and you guys were going to watch
we were
going to
watch the boys for a night or the weekend or something, and then I think one of them got sick. And
trip got canceled.
Canceled the trip.
They're always, they're always sick. Somebody's always sick. I'll pick one up from school today and they'll be like, I feel fine. I want to go to the game. I honestly, I don't know that I'll see one single solitary pitch.
I can't wait.
I hope I do. But yeah, you guys can see how the other half lives tonight. These little a-holes.
Well, and then when you leave in the second inning, we'll have all this space next to us. It's going to be great.
You will have 3 full seats. You can sit on one end, Megan at the other. You don't even have to talk to each other. You have 3 seats between you. So I'm excited, man. I love taking my kids to Petco Park, but Bo loves baseball. Well, but we go to the ball yard. He wants to go to the playground. He's going to want to hit. He's going to do all that stuff.
And it's always been important to me, even as a kid and still as an adult at 33 years old, to see the stars of the game.
Yeah.
Like I remember in 2018, I drove up to go to a Clippers game because the Cavs were in town and LeBron was there.
Sure.
And I had not seen LeBron James play in person. You see the Phillies are coming to town. You get a chance to see Bryce Harper play.
Yep.
That's always a special moment. You get to see superstars here for the Padres every single day. But when you see those guys coming through, I think it's always important, especially for somebody like Bo's age, to be able to be like, yeah, I saw him.
My son is a huge Bryce Harper fan. He's a huge Trey Turner fan. He's a huge Kyle Schwarber fan. He's already that kid that is like, no, I can appreciate the greatness on the other team. Now he's going to be rooting his ass off for the Padres tonight from Gallagher Square, I'm sure. But no, I'm excited, man. I just like being in that ballpark. It fills me with a sense of pride, certainly, and I love taking my kids to the game. So if you guys see us out there tonight, make sure you say hello. If you don't like me and want to punch me, I'm going to have my kids with me, so maybe another time we can get that worked out. But going to be joined next by Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. They've been doing some really, really good work. They always do some good work. Very honored and appreciative of his time this morning. Always reps the Padres, too. He's always wearing like a Tin Caps hat. Some interesting news out of the minor leagues yesterday. Leo Dallas de Breeze almost hit his first home run, Paulie. Has a beautiful, beautiful swing. Some of the guys from Mad Friars were down there watching them play. Hate to say it, but, the future's bright. We've been saying that here for so long. It's almost hard to say it with a straight face.
Yeah. Prospect hugging is back.
It's back.
Back
and
in fashion.
It is back in fashion. It's exactly right. We'll be back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Coming up next, Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. All right, we're halfway home on a Friday. Mercifully halfway home. Looking forward to this weekend. Should be a great one. Going to be out at Pechanga Arena tomorrow night, calling the Seals game, playoffs. Would love to have you out there. SealsLax.com. You can get your tickets. Really excited about that. I'm a little bit concerned about my voice. I've blown it out. I blew it out doing a bit the other day. Then I had the show, the round table.
Still suffering from that?
Still suffering a little bit. I told you, man, I tasted blood when I was screaming. That's hardcore. I don't know how those guys
probably get that checked out.
I don't know how those hardcore singers do it.
Every night.
Every single night on tour and stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me. But no, we'll grind through it. That's what we do. Joining us right now is our pal from Cespedes Family Barbecue, brought to you by our friends at the Grand Ole Barbecue, one of my favorite places in San Diego to eat. It's our pal Jordan Schusterman. Good morning, my friend.
What's up, guys? Good to see you.
Good to see you. How's everything with you?
Things are great, as you can tell. I'm supporting Aniel today.
Oh,
I know the Padres had a tough one, a little tough day in the yard yesterday.
That was a tough one.
We can get into why I was both like not as worried and worried about a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to just do the old common, well, it's Coors Field, and weird things happen. That is true. That being said, you got to win that game up 9-4. You have to.
Yeah. My kind of two takeaways from that are, to your point, right? I mean, it's an objective fact. I mean, Coors Field is as goofy as it gets, and that's the thing. Is as bad as the Rockies roster can get. Weird stuff happens, but that's the thing. You only have so many opportunities to play bad teams.
Yes.
And when you're a team like the Padres, who's clearly good enough to be in the mix, but you need when you got other good teams coming to town like Philadelphia, like that's not as easy. It doesn't mean they can't be good teams, but there's only so many opportunities to, in theory, pencil in a series victory. And so that's what made yesterday's, on top of the fact that obviously you have a lead like that, you should win. That's obvious too. But that's the part that's frustrating is you only have so many quote unquote gimmies on the schedule. And I know every Major League Baseball game is hard. I respect all the team players on the bad teams as well as the good teams, but that's just the reality for a team like the Padres. If you're in the middle, you have to take care of those things. And we saw that again with, I know they haven't had the opportunity to play the Chicago White Sox yet, but that's something that you can see can get teams right in a hurry, right? Minnesota, we were like, oh no, boom. Okay, you rattle off 4 in a row. The White Sox, and you would hope even in the Coors Field context that would be something that the Padres would be able to do as well.
Yeah, and that's I think what's been eluding this team and eluding this fan base, that it's just a lack of consistency. Like I got a text from a guy I really respect, Jordan, and he said, yeah, they do a lot of things well, just not consistent enough. There's games where they play off their ass defensively. There's games they pitch off their ass. There's games where they hit off their ass. It just doesn't happen consistent enough. Now, am I insane, though? Because 14-14 is kind of the definition of consistent. Is it not? Or is it inconsistent? I mean, we're pretty consistent. 14-14.
That's a funny way to think about it, right? I mean, in theory, right. We're bouncing back and forth between wins and losses. The end result, 500, I guess, is a consistently average. I understand, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some elements and some of the energy around this Padres team that is frighteningly familiar. But I don't know, it's still just so many new faces. And I think, too, that I really did like what Shildt said after the game yesterday. I think him saying, like, listen, like, it's not acceptable to blow a lead like that. But it is true that sometimes things aren't going to work out. Now, that's the kind of thing that when you're 5 or 6 games under, or you're objectively a bad team, and some of the situations we had last year when we're really falling in a hole, then it gets repetitive. But at this point, you've tread water. You have shown some things that are good. You have had some success with Wandy Peralta, until that. I'm totally in favor of supporting your player there and saying, hey, yeah, like this guy doesn't suck. Every player is capable of sucking on any given day in the major leagues, and that was a tough look. It's inexcusable in the sense that, yeah, you should be able to hold a lead like that with that many outs to get, but it happens. And so I think you have to push on. And I know as media we want to be like, oh my God, blow it up. What were you thinking there? It was so obvious. I like that he defended his players there. And I think that the way they've played so far, he's earned the right to take that tone. That could change at some point if they fall a little bit farther back. But I think for now, I liked how that was. Hi, Kyle Glazer. It's nice to see you, my dear friend.
Good. How are you, Jordan?
Look at that!
What a wonderful surprise.
I didn't even have to introduce our pal Kyle Glazer, who joins us in studio. Welcome in, man. And I know you've known Jordan for a long time. Yeah. I've been talking a lot. I'm just going to sit back.
Yeah.
Let you guys have a conversation. Welcome to the Ben Wood Show.
What a lovely shock. It's good to see Kyle. Kyle's someone who's been very kind to us for a long time. Always enjoy seeing him on the road at various MLB events. Always enjoy talking ball with Kyle. So it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, brother. It's always fun. I always see Jake and Jordan, any major event, the All-Star Game, the World Series. I basically see them like twice a year at the biggest events, and it's always a bummer because I want to talk to them for like an hour or two because we're on the same level of baseball nerddom, but there's a million things happening. You have all the press conferences, you have a million media members, and besides, they're kind of popular. They've got some paparazzi, they've got some groupies. It's hard to have access to them sometimes.
It is. They've gone a little bit big time. We saw them on the backfields at spring training years ago is when we made our introduction to them, and I like to give us a lot of credit too for helping boost their profile.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great to have you in.
Yeah.
It's great to have you in, Kyle. Yeah, we're talking Padres baseball, and it hasn't. The one thing I can say is, hey, at least we're not the Astros, or at least we're not the White Sox.
The White Sox.
That's
That's the true barometer.
The bar.
That's the barometer of true terribleness, and the Padres are nowhere near there.
We're nowhere near there.
there.
Which is great. That's great. That's something to shoot
Even
for.
the Cardinals, I would say, are still, and a lot of these teams who are kind of in that middle that you could say from a talent standpoint have disappointed. And I'd say even more than the Padres, like teams like Toronto,
the Dodgers,
like Tampa, right? The Dodgers, no, I would say the Dodgers. Sure, that's totally fair, right? And so and we just spent half an hour on our podcast we recorded this morning just on Houston because that is about as stunning as it gets. I felt like we had the similar energy with St. Louis last year when it got really bad, and it was like, oh my gosh, we've never seen this team be bad. We really haven't, and for how good Houston's been over the last decade. That's how it feels. I mean, this is stunning. This is beyond a bad start. This is looking like at times an actual bad team. Now they still have time to claw their way out, but you guys know this is relevant for Padres fans. The Astros going to Mexico City this weekend could either be the best or the worst thing that ever happens to them. I mean, in theory, it's like, oh, maybe let's switch it up. You play against the Rockies, you put up a bunch of runs, but they need to get outs right now. And they're lucky that it's Blanco and Fromber going Saturday and Sunday, because I would feel very bad if some of their struggling starters would have to pitch down there in Mexico City.
It's so reminiscent, though, because you remember another team that had some superstars that couldn't really get it going, and then they went down to Mexico City, and then they really got it going. And then they came back and nothing happened. I mean, it's pretty reminiscent of the Padres last year. And they came out with a message, essentially, the Astros, and they said, we're not worried. We heard the same thing last year, all season long. At what point does a team start to worry? There has to be some internal worry.
We spent all season wondering last year, when is it panic button time?
Right, when do you punch it?
I will say, generally speaking, within the baseball community, the players know who they are after about 50 games.
Yeah.
That's the moment where they really know, and they can say all they want to say. I remember covering the 2015 Padres, that perennially underachieving team. They're under 500 in September. Like, if we just win one game a week the rest of the season, we'll still be in it. It's like, you guys haven't done that for 5 months.
That's the thing.
It's not happening. So I think it's something where, look, it's still early, is valid until about the 50-game mark. At that point, look, the players know what they have. The coaches know what they have. They can say all they want. They know in their hearts what their team really is after about 50 games.
Yeah, it's a good point that you make. I do wonder, too, talking to Jordan Schusterman, we're joined by Kyle Glazer as well here on Ben and Woods this morning. You saw the weird off season, right, and how it played out with free agency. There's still guys sitting out there looking for jobs. We did the roundtable yesterday, and our midday host, Craig Elson, big fan of Brandon Belt, thinks he could help this lineup. I wonder what the trade deadline is going to be like this year. I really do, because there's teams that are out of it right now, and I know there's still a lot of games till the trade deadline, and we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that's what we do. I wonder what that's going to look like. I mean, is that going to be more active, less active than it's been before? Does the weird free agent offseason have anything to do with that? Is there any correlation between the two? How much movement? How active will the Padres be? and then depending on where they stand, I'm just interested in kind of the direction that baseball's going. Jordan, could you speak to that?
I mean, I would usually bet on the Padres being active basically no matter what. I mean, even last year, amidst the goofiness, they found ways to make some interesting trades. So I would be shocked if AJ Preller is going to sit out a deadline for basically any reason. Now, to that point, though, I think, you go into any year and you look at the bottom of the standings and say, okay, so those teams are going to be sellers. Who are some players on these kind of average team, bad teams that we can expect to be moved? Again, not to keep harping on it, but the Astros are such a fascinating character in this story. I mean, Alex Bregman, if you don't think you're going to re-sign him, now he's been playing terribly too, so that's a different individual issue. Let's say Alex Bregman turns it on, but the Astros are still in last place in July, and you don't think you're going to re-sign him. I mean, for an Astros farm system that is one of the worst in the league, you have to imagine they would consider flipping him for that. But maybe that also enters the conversation where they go to Bregman and they say, hey, listen, we want to trade you. And he says, no, I do want to stay. And this actually is going to motivate me to sign an extension. I just, flush this season in the toilet and then we run it back next year. So that's really interesting. But then again, you look at the other teams that we know for sure are going to be sellers. I mean, here's off of some news we just got in the last hour. I mean, Miami, in theory, was going to have a lot of pieces to move on the pitching side, and they keep getting hurt. So, Jesus Luzardo, who was kind of in that same bucket as Dylan Cease, and you think, oh, the Marlins are still going for it. Okay, now their season goes off the rails, but we think, well, they could still trade Luzardo. They were already considering it. Well, he might be hurt now too, and now you maybe missed that opportunity. So Miami is definitely a team to watch, though. That there's still a team that has the kind of talent, whether it's on 1 year or multi-year deals, that you could see them kind of swing new deals with the new front office.
And I think your point on Luzardo is an important one. We are seeing starting pitchers drop like flies this year. And so we can talk all we want about, oh, this guy could be a great trade piece in July. At the rate starting pitchers are getting hurt, he might not be around. I mean, it's been such an insane rate of injuries that we've seen happen. It's really, really hard to go ahead right now and predict who's going to be available just because we don't even know who's going to have a functioning arm. It's been really, it's one thing I can tell you, everyone in the league office is talking about it. Front offices are talking about it. Players are talking about it. This is a real issue for the game. And obviously there are going to be bigger issues beyond just what it means for the trade deadline, but it's something to really, really watch.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I mean, it's weird. Like the correlations, I played fantasy baseball, starting pitchers, right? Are devalued now because you're not going to spend $45 on a starting pitcher when you don't know. Like I spent a good piece on Jesus Luzardo, and he's probably done. Let's be honest. Like
so there's some personal bitterness.
There's some personal bitterness here about Luzardo, but you see it like they're being devalued. And if you're a starting pitcher these days, you're like, I don't want to be devalued. I want to make that Garrett Cole money. I want to make that Max Scherzer money. But you can also kind of see the other side of saying, I don't know if I want to commit 10 years and $300 million to a guy whose arm may fall off and needs 3 to 4 surgeries in the next 5 years. It's a bad spot that we're in the game.
With no way to predict it. I mean, you mentioned fantasy baseball. I had a conversation this like right before the season with a friend who he had like a top 5 pick in his fantasy draft. And he's like, I really want to take Strider. And I was like, I love Spencer Strider. He might be the best pitcher in the world. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't.
And this was before we had any idea he was getting hurt. I was just like, listen, it's just take the players that are going to play every day. And of course, we've had freaky injuries with position players too. We've had Bellinger, Tristan Casas, all kinds of. So, this has just been a very injured April across the league in general. But that's just where we're at with the pitching, and you could apply that to just how we predict and project pitching in general. I mean, think again back to Houston. Oh my God, look at this bullpen! This is the greatest bullpen we've ever seen. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's actually the worst bullpen in baseball.
Yeah,
it's like, well, how are we supposed to project that? And I don't think all that will sustain, but it's tough, man, and it makes it more fun and more interesting and more impressive when teams are able to put it together. What Philadelphia has done,
all right.
What Seattle has
done.
Be
here tonight, man. I mean, we're all panicked about the Phillies coming in. They're due for some bad starts, though. They are. They've had so many good starts in a row.
Hell yeah.
They're due. They're going to come to the house of horrors that is Petco Park, and the rabid fan base is going to be screaming at them. They're a really good team. They're a really, really good team that's coming in here to Petco this weekend.
They're tough to root against, too.
And they are tough to root against, man. I know.
They are a fun team with fun players.
Let me say this, though, because, it's going to be Nola, Musgrove, Rangers Suarez, Dylan Cease, Taijuan Walker coming back. The Walker Turnbull story, for those who have not followed it, is fascinating. Essentially, Taijuan Walker, they gave a bunch of money last year. He's injured. They don't trust him at the end of last season. They signed Spencer Turnbull for $2 million, and they're like, oh, he'll patch some innings in the beginning. Spencer Turnbull has the lowest ERA in baseball. So now you have a situation where it's like, okay, well, are we just going to spend Spencer Turnbull to the bullpen? It seems like yes, which is kind of wild. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is Dylan Cease, guys.
So good.
We love him. I was the highest on him. You know, going to all the trade discussions. I was like, go get this guy. You want him. And again, he could suck or get hurt tomorrow. But let me tell you, I have quite enjoyed that. And I know the first couple, but that's been awesome to see him in San Diego.
We have too. We've loved him here. Jordan, thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks as always, my friend.
Good seeing you, dude.
Appreciate you all. Kyle, good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Jordan Schusterman, Cespedes Family Barbecue, brought to you by Grand Ole Barbecue here on Ben and Woods. We do it every Friday. Really enjoy talking baseball with those guys. They are awesome. His cohort, Jake, runs a travel ball team in Harlem, which is just the coolest thing. I made a note to make a donation to him. He is helping grow baseball in the inner city. It is so awesome what they do. Wanted to give them a shout out too. I'll post a link on our Twitter too. I'm just so in favor of how much those guys love the game of baseball, man. They really just love the game.
You'll see him covering a playoff series in Atlanta,
yeah,
and then like
fly back.
a couple days later, he's coaching Little League.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And by the way, it's authentic. I mean, these two are just genuine, salt-of-the-earth, good guys. Again, I feel very, very fortunate to have gotten to know them. I think I met them for the first time in person at the All-Star game in Miami. That would have been 2017 now. So it's been 7 years at this point, and they haven't changed.
Not a bit.
As this was back when they were still just kind of doing their own thing, as their star has risen, going to Fox Sports and now Yahoo and being more prominent. They're still just regular dudes, good guys who love baseball.
So smart.
My favorite memory of Jordan was a few years ago. Remember when minor league reorganization was happening and everyone was wondering what affiliate is going to be in what city? He's in Indiana. He's in the Midwest 2 hours ahead. I'm here on the West Coast. I get a text at 11 p.m. local. Hey, do you have a minute for a call? It's like, sure. At 1:30 in the morning, his time, he just wants to talk to me about where do you think this affiliate's going? We're piecing together this affiliate puzzle. I mean, again, it's middle of the night there, but that's the level of passion. And I love it because it's on my level too. And there's not that many people who can go that far into the weeds. And again, it's authentic and I love it. And they're great guys.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that can't do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. I just can't. I need my rest. Kyle Glazer joins us in studio. We'll talk some Padres baseball next. Going to be joined by the skipper, Mike Shildt, in about 40 minutes. Excited about that as well. Thanks for being here on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Happy Friday to you. Very excited to have our pal Kyle Glazer in studio with us this morning. Kyle, thanks for making the trek down. I know you're in L.A., the L.A. area. And you, my friend, have an interesting story. We were just talking about it. You left Baseball America. You had written for them for many years and kind of reached the top of your game there. And so what are you doing now? You couldn't stay away from writing about baseball as hard as you tried.
Yeah, so I'm getting my MBA from USC right now, USC Marshall School of Business. I'm more than halfway through the program, and it's been a really, really cool experience. And in the meantime, though, MLB.com, my friend AJ Cassaville reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in doing some writing for them, hooked me up with the people in charge there. So I'm writing for MLB.com a little bit here from January through June. Then I start a new gig in the boring old corporate world, going into consulting like many MBAs. I'm going to be one of those nameless drones. And
I want a consulting job so bad, like more than anything in the world. Radio consultant.
Yeah, so I'm going into media consulting, taking everything I've learned from years in newspapers and radio and television and trying to help companies figure out the puzzle of how to make this a successful business again. We'll see if I'm able to do it or not. But look, I love the game, being in the ballpark, writing about, talking to players, coaches. I mean, the nitty gritty, that's my passion. So getting to write for MLB.com in the interim is nice. And who knows, maybe I'll go into the corporate world, realize, well, this sucks, and decide I want to come back and do the fun stuff. We'll find out.
100%. I mean, that's like my dream is to do this for a few more years. I'm like, I'm a consultant now. That's what I just consult. I fly around and meet with morning shows and help them, and it's a dream of mine. You don't want to do this forever, but listen, I wanted to ask you. I know you got a chance to see one of the guys. I think the organization and a lot of fans that are in the know are really, really excited about. Leodales Debris. He's Dominican, and he is a 17-year-old shortstop. Yeah. And you got a chance to see his first professional game.
First professional hit. So the Tuesday night game, he went 0 for 4. I was unable to be at that one.
That's good. You didn't want to see that one.
Yeah. But I went out Wednesday afternoon and got to see first at bat, sharp single into right field, second at bat, double into center. And look, he's really, really impressive. I think that when you see some of these kids in low A who are these big signing bonus kids, especially international kids, 17, 18. They're long and loose, and you see the tools, but they're really raw. That's not him. What really stood out to me watching him is it's really good takes. It's really mature at-bats. He's working counts. He's spoiling with two strikes, waiting to get a pitch to hit. He's making the pitch work. He was facing a guy who was a college draftee in his second year in the Cali. He's 17. He was facing a 22-year-old guy 5 years older than him, and he's having no issue with the at-bat. Wasn't overwhelmed at all. Worked full counts, got a good pitch to hit and didn't miss it. Look, it's a beautiful, smooth, fast left-handed swing. We knew that coming in. But what's more impressive in a lot of ways is the approach, the maturity. Again, just really good takes. You could see he was recognizing pitches out of the hand. He knew what was coming. He was on time. It was all there. He runs the bases well. He's a good athlete. You see it the way he moves. And then defensively, again, at the low Class A level, especially when you're talking about these, 17, 18-year-olds who – look, if he was in the United States, he'd be a high school junior.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times these guys, you see all sorts of, flash and flare, but they don't, convert the routine plays. He does it all. Again, it's really good footwork. It's good reads off the bat, backhand coming in to his left. It's a quick transfer. It's a strong arm. He's only going to get bigger and stronger. So what stands out, first of all, when you see him walk on the diamond, look, he looks the part, right? You see it. It's just the way you want it to look. But there's a million guys in the minor leagues who look the part,
100%.
But aren't the part.
Right.
So the important part's the substance. And he has it. It takes about 2 at-bats and 4 innings defensively to be like, yeah, I'm in. Like, this is one of those you don't have to think too hard about. It's like, yeah, I'm in.
It's funny you say that, too, because we've had a chance to see Ethan Salas the last couple of years at spring training, and he was out there when we were at fantasy camp. And you know what sold me on Ethan Salas was just a drill. I was just watching him do a catching drill, and I'm like, all right, this kid also 17 years old or whatever at the time, and they're flipping a ball off the wall, and he's picking it out of the air. And I'm like, yeah, probably a lot of guys could do that. Brett Sullivan could probably do that. It doesn't look like that when Brett Sullivan does it. It doesn't look like that. It's different. This dude was like Mr. Miyagi picking flies with chopsticks. Really. I mean, he was like, whoop, whoop, didn't move his head, just picking it off the wall. Boom, boom. And I sat there for like 10 minutes watching this kid do this drill, and I'm like, I cannot believe. Then you watch him take the field, and they're doing defensive drills, and you're watching how he moves, how he throws, the presence that he has, and There's a lot to be excited about, in this organization, the younger levels and the lower levels, and I'm really excited about DeBreeze, man. I think he is going to be great. Problem is, you how many years away? 3. 3 years. That's.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Padres have been very, very aggressive promoting players, Ethan Salas included, who I saw a lot of at Lake Elsinore last year. Wrote a big feature on him for us at Baseball America. He was 16 his first 2 days when he was at Elsinore, the youngest position player to play full season ball since Adrian Beltre. That was the last time a 16-year-old was in the Cal League.
Crazy.
So I think with regards to how quick they're going to move him, you probably want to take the conservative route a little bit, just because there's a lot less risk in holding a guy back than pushing him.
Sure.
We've seen a lot of guys get pushed. They miss some fundamental developmental steps, including in this organization. We've seen a lot of guys get pushed. It's ultimately hurt their career. So I think with the Padres, one of the smartest things they did was Ethan Salas. They promoted him to Double-A last year. And look, I saw a lot of Ethan Salas at Lake Elsinore. He's going to be a fantastic player. He was nowhere near ready for Double-A, just developmentally, physically. That's a whole different level of baseball. And that was a mistake. The fact they started him back at high Fort Wayne this year, I thought was the second smartest thing they did this entire offseason. The first was acquiring Dylan Cease.
Yes.
The second smartest thing was starting Ethan Salas back at high A.
I want to talk about the third smartest thing they did, and his name's Jackson Merrill. When you're talking about great ABs, putting it at bats together, I want to talk about him, how he's developed so far. We got a lot more Padres talk coming for you guys. We got the skipper in about 28 minutes here on Ben and Woods this morning. Got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. And got about an hour and a half left on the program. Still going to be joined by the skipper, Mike Shildt, at 9 a.m. this morning. And joined in studio by our pal Kyle Glazer. We'll get right back to some Padres talk about all the levels of the San Diego Padres right after a quick check of traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Tough Turtle Turf. Transform your lawn with toughturtleturf.com. Guys, we got a couple of crashes in Mission Valley. One of them's on northbound 15 just before the 8. It's over the right shoulder. And reports of a crash on eastbound 8 near the 163. No details as to whether that is blocking lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Tough Turtle Turf is your go-to for all your landscaping needs. Transform your lawn with our lush, low-maintenance proprietary artificial turf. And add style and functionality with our durable pavers and stepping stones. And so much more. Transform your lawn with Tough Turtle Turf at toughturtleturf.com.
Oh, thank you for that extra commercial there. Tough Turtle Turf. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. It's me. It's Paulie. Ben is in Las Vegas. Currently probably on the golf course, playing his ass off, trying to win his money back. Joined in studio by Kyle Glazer, formerly of Baseball America, now a writer for MLB.com. And Kyle, very, very smart baseball man. Thanks for joining us today. This organization, it's interesting. Somebody had tweeted yesterday, Padres are 14-14 today. They were 14-14 at this time last year. What's the difference? And it actually gave me a slight tinge of hope. I did. I said, okay, so we're doing the same with a lot less right now this year. So that made me slightly happy. Your overall kind of read on the San Diego Padres under Mike Shildt, under it, kind of where we stand today.
Yeah, I mean, having covered this team a lot this year, being in the clubhouse, talking to players, coaches, first and foremost, you can see it on the field. This year's team has more fight. I mean, that's the biggest thing. They've come back from more deficits already than it feels like they did all of last year. But I just go back to last year. There were times where you felt like this team was sleepwalking. I remember, I think it was mid-May last year, they lost 2 of 3 at home to the Royals.
It's brutal.
Lost 2 of 3 at home to the Nationals, getting booed off the field. You could see it. There was no fire. There was no passion. And in the clubhouse, the vibes were just off. It wasn't overly antagonistic, but there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of sourness. There was a lot of agitation. This year, the team, we're seeing them just first and foremost be more composed and mature in late game situations. The quality of the at-bats are so much better. We saw last year they'd be down. Guys would be trying to play hero ball, swinging from their heels, trying to hit the game-winning homer when all you need to do is move the runner over, keep the line moving. And this year we're seeing that more and more and more. We saw it in the Cubs comeback. We saw it in the Dodgers comeback. I think that we're just seeing an overall maturity to this team, and it's carried over into the clubhouse. Again, I go back to that Dodgers series. I was there covering for MLB.com, and after the Will Smith comment about Jurickson Profar, being not relevant, that night I thought everyone involved, Shildt, Profar, was very, very mature in the way they responded to that. And then the next night, Profar let his bat do the talking, game-winning double. We talked to him about after. He's like, Will Smith's a great player. He's going to have his opinions. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to do what's best for my team. And everyone down the line, from Shildt, the manager, Machado, the veteran, Merrill, the rookie, all of them, responded in such a mature way that I'm not sure it would have happened last year.
Way more mature than certain radio hosts in this town. I'll tell you that right now. I was pretty hot.
Our texts that night.
Man,
Smith's a dead man
tomorrow.
I mean, 100%.
Every single one to a man, like, look, Will Smith's a great player. He has his opinions. We're not worried about it. We know what we have. And that, to me, is a sign of a secure team.
I saw that, too, I heard that, too, yesterday when we interviewed Jake Cronenworth, and he, spoke openly about having a manager that has their backs. And listen, I've seen Eric Hosmer's podcast. He's gone so far as to not even mention Jace Tingler by name, right? He just calls him the manager.
The manager at the time.
The manager at the time, while also mentioning all the coaches by name, right? It's interesting. So the maturity of this team, the fact that a skipper will go and give kind of a bitchy post-game interview, to media and say, hey, man, I'm going to ride with this guy. I believe in these guys. They're winners. I liked it, man. I did. And I had friends that were like, oh, great, more eyewash from the skipper. There was nothing about that I didn't like yesterday.
I think
other than the result.
Again, it was an ugly loss. Look, it's going to happen over the course of the season, especially in a place like Colorado. And you have to remember that as bad as the Rockies are, they're a different team at home. First and foremost, a 5-run lead in Coors Field can disappear in an instant.
Yeah, it did.
The Padres have benefited from that. They've been on the other side of this, too. But the other thing to keep in mind is I went back and looked. The Rockies were 15 games better at home than on the road last year.
Yeah.
14 games better at home than on the road the year before. 22 games better at home than on the road. The Rockies are terrible, but at home, they are a competitive team that's never out of a game. So, honestly, if you think about, hey, you went on the road and took 2 out of 4 from if you think of the Rockies as a different team at home, which they are.
It's a good point.
You take the 30,000-foot view. Okay, hey, you get out of there. It's tough to play at the elevation. But I think with this team, just going back to it, again, as bad as that loss was, Mike Shilt's response was good, and he has so much credibility as a baseball man. Mike Shildt worked his way from the bottom. He was a high school coach, then he was a college coach, then he was running a training facility, then he was in rookie ball in Johnson City, which, if you've ever been to Johnson City, Tennessee, there's nothing there. That's the dregs of the Appalachian League. I mean, worked his way up, A-ball, AA Springfield, AAA. He's been a bench coach. He's been a first base coach. He understands the game on so many different levels from so many different perspectives. He understands players. Look, he handled superstars in St. Louis with Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. He handled all these stud players in the Cardinals organization coming up as rookies. He knows what players need. He understands what makes them tick. And I think we're seeing that over and over already this season, and it's really been a nice, boost for the Padres.
And a much better brand of baseball. I was a big Bob Melvin fan. Still am. Still like Bob Melvin.
Yeah.
But every day with Mike Shildt at the helm, I do get a little more excited. He's better with the media. He's better. He's more understanding of. And I know yesterday was, he was agitated, as he said. But it does seem like he's got a really good grip on his players. His players like him. Crony said they like playing for him. Yeah. They are all pulling for each other. I also tend to think that they were pretty morbidly embarrassed by last year.
Yeah.
It was an embarrassment. They were a bit of the laughing stock of baseball, with all the expectations and that just never materialized. So I know Manny grabbed the mic in spring training and basically said that's on us and we don't want that to happen again. And they've been playing hard. Now they've done some dumb stuff. They've run into outs. They've booted some balls. Those errors have been massively fatal to us this year. But I'm fairly encouraged, man. I am.
And I think it's important to note expectations for this team. Now, as I was driving to meet you in the studio, I was hearing you talk about some of the people who are saying, oh, this team is done, after last night's loss. This is an 83, 84 win team on talent. The fact they're 14-14 right now, this is kind of where their true talent level is. There are some starting pitching depth issues. There are some, back third of the lineup issues, though those guys are hitting now. Give Eggy Rosario, et cetera, credit. But if this team wins 86, 87 games, that's a huge win.
I think so too.
That means they have overperformed, and it's going to be because of good at-bats in key moments, maybe cleaning up some of these fundamental errors. But some of the issues we're seeing, again, yesterday was a disaster. Wild pitch, pass ball, lots of walks from relievers. You'd never want that. But I think people coming in thinking, oh, this is a 95-win team underperforming. No. This is a 500-ish team that, with a couple breaks, and if they play hard and come through in some big moments, maybe they get to 85, 86, 87, win that last wild card spot. And that's where Mike Shildt coming in. Last year's problems were not because of Bob Melvin, but look, anyone with 2 eyes and 2 ears could see it. By the end of the year,
they were over it.
They were over it. It was not working. They were kind of just, even though they finished the year strong, it was clear early on that just the passion wasn't there. The positive vibes weren't there. And, now there's a change. Those positive vibes are there now. It's a long season. We still have to see if they'll be there in August and September. But Mike Shildt represents that. You're seeing it from the players. And overall, I think you have to be happy with where this team is, both in terms of on-field results and just how they're speaking, how they're acting, how they're playing.
Tempering expectations is a hard thing to do. It is. No matter what, whether it's for your children, whether it's for your career, whatever it is, it's hard to do. And no one wants to step back. And I don't think you could walk around that clubhouse and say, do you guys think you're a 500 team? They'd all tell you to a man, we're better than that. We're better than our record shows. And I respectfully kind of disagree. You are what your record says you are right now. I do feel that. But I also know that they believe in each other. Honestly, man, that's kind of enough for me as a fan. I've said it like a mantra. win or lose, we just want you to play hard, respect the city that you play in, respect the fans that you play for, that continuously fill that ballpark every night. You're going to lose games. You don't want to choke games away like last night. You're going to lose 80-some-odd games this year probably. It's the way you go about it. And so far, so good. Really.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, you think about that Dodgers series, coming back from deficits in all 3 games, winning 2 of 3. You know, even the Blue Jays series, the first 2 games, they lose. They're not particularly in it. They come back out on Sunday, and they, put together a nice game plan against a good pitcher, Chris Bassett.
Take care of business.
They win the series finale. They have a happy flight to Colorado, and that's what's going to be really key for this upcoming homestand. Look, it's not getting any easier.
Nope.
Philly's coming into town. You have Aaron Nola tonight. Ranger Suarez, who is undefeated, and in my opinion, might be the most underrated pitcher in baseball. This is a legit, solid number 2, number 3 type who's pitched in the World Series and done well in the postseason, and people don't seem to appreciate him. This is going to be a challenging series. But this is where your money's made a little bit. Hey, you got to bounce back after a tough loss, a tough opponent, but it's your home park. You know it's going to be sold out at Petco Park this weekend. I'm going to be really curious to see how they perform against one of the best teams in the NL in a marquee series coming off a tough loss. That's going to be the true measure of this team's toughness.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. There's just these stepping stone after stepping stone for a baseball team, a baseball fan, baseball players all throughout the season. All right, split, fine. How do you respond today? I'm interested to see how Jackson Merrill is doing. We're going to ask the skipper, Mike Shildt, in about 10 minutes. I'm going to ask him, about the health of Jackson Merrill. He's played a ton, and you've already seen the trust grow in Jackson Merrill from week 1 when it was, we got a lefty, let's get Sugar out there. No, it's like Jackson's our center fielder. He's going to play. He's going to hit lefties. He's hit lefties well. He's big hits against the Dodgers. He's been really, really good. I love watching him play baseball, and I don't long for anything more from him. And I know the impatience of fans are like, man, it'd be nice if he could, count on him for a 3-run homer. No. Yeah. Let him be him and mature.
That's Fernando's job.
Some power will come for him. You don't swing that well with that good a bat to ball and not get some power in your career.
And the strength of his game is his contact. Let's be clear. The best version of Jackson Merrill, long-term, is a guy who's hitting 300 with 20 homers.
I was going to say 12 to 15.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not a 30-homer dude.
No.
This is a contact first. And it might be 280 with 15 homers and great defense. And that's more than fun.
Absolutely.
That's his game. You don't want him to start swinging for the fences and lose what made him good in the first place. We've seen that happen to way too many young hitters.
So many players.
Focus, again, left on left, Alex Vesia taking a 0-2 fastball, poking it the other way. And I saw him do the same thing in Lake Elsinore against lefties when he was 18, 19, fresh out of the draft. And that's who he is. That's more than enough. That's a great AB. Let him be that. Don't try to force him into being what he's not. If he starts swinging for the fences, that's a bad thing. We don't want that from Jackson Merrill.
We do not want that from Jackson Merrill. Nice to see the Pods get, hit a couple of bombs yesterday, certainly, but for the most part,
bizarre to go 3 games without.
It was, especially in Coors Field. And now, you need some reinforcements though on this team. We got about 5 minutes left in here. What would you like to see the Padres do soon? Because there's guys that can help this team right now. We talked about on the roundtable yesterday. We are essentially, I think, still a bat away, an arm away, a right-hander in the bullpen, like another Enyel De Los Santos type would be nice. You got 4 lefties down in the bullpen right now, none of which are your closer. So what would you do if you were kind of in charge right now of making some moves?
I think the most important thing is they need to reinforce this pitching staff. When you look at over the course of 162, we don't know how Michael King is going to hold up over a full season.
Right.
He has never made more than 9 starts in a season. He had those 8 great starts to end the year last year. It's a big difference what you look like start 8 versus start 16 versus start 24. So that's a question mark. Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove both finished last year on the IL. They both have some injury histories. Again, Yu's on the IL right now. Hopefully nothing major, but you're counting on those guys staying healthy. And Matt Waldron's really, really good. I like him for what he is, which is a good number 4 or 5 starter. We know Dylan Cease is a stud, but we see every year having 5 quality starting pitchers is not enough to get you through a major league season.
Never
and
is.
As much as Robbie Snelling is a good young pitcher in AA, Adam Mazur's a good young pitcher in AA, expecting these guys ready to come up in the middle of a pennant race and perform from day one, if it happens, great. I don't think you can expect that. So going out and getting another, it doesn't have to be an ace arm, but just, someone, a solid number 4, number 5 type to give you some insurance. That would be key. And at the end of the day, as much as this offense has been overall performing well, if you're honest with yourself and stack this lineup up next to the Braves lineup, the Dodgers lineup,
it's not close.
It's not close. In order to get to World Series contender status, honestly, you probably need 2 more bats to kind of lengthen the bottom of this lineup. But number 1 would be lengthen the rotation. We've seen starting rotation issues sink this team before. I go back to 2021 when you're pulling Vince Velasquez and Jake Arrieta off the scrap heap.
That was the worst.
That was unwatchable.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that's priority number 1.
Okay, yeah, and I agree fully, and I know there's been some chat about some guys that are throwing well in the minor leagues right now that could potentially help Estrada. Look nasty, man. He's a lot of strikeouts.
He's got stuff.
He's got stuff.
Palm Desert Kid.
Yeah, Palm Desert Kid. I'm interested to see, and I'm always interested to see what moves they make to help fortify this team going forward. But, yeah, it is hard to temper expectations as a fan. It is. I will be the first to tell you. I expect more from the team. I just do. And you look around and you see Xander, and hopefully Manny's back tonight. Xander, Manny, Tatis. Profar's played out of his mind this year. It's fun to see Cronenworth, Hassan Kim. I mean, you feel like you're better than a 14-14 team, but that's what you are. That's what you are right now. You're a 14-14 team. We're going to ask the skipper about all of this coming up
we've
next.
We've hammered the point all month about Xander in the leadoff spot. I liked what I saw for the most part, at least this week.
In Colorado, sure.
I really hope if he's turning a corner, that could be huge.
That home run he hit against the Blue Jays in the Sunday finale, that was a good sign. You're starting to see him come around. Hassan Kim's starting to come around. So we're starting to see it a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny because Tatis is now, he's fine. I mean, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't worry about him. But he's missed some hangers in Colorado that I know he saw in his sleep. I know he saw some of these hangers that he missed or took. There was a 3-0 hanger yesterday. I'm like, buddy, no one's going to be mad at you for swinging 3-0, especially on that pitch. Just hammer it. He needs to get back to, that aggressiveness that he had in the early part of the season. I know it's still the early part of the season, but he needs to be Fernando Tatis Jr. and just be the wild stallion that he is.
I think with him, we saw him start to come back last year. We've seen flashes this year. I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him in the least.
I'm not either. He's not a guy I worry about. All right, coming up next, going to be joined by the skipper of the San Diego Padres, Mike Shildt. See if he rips me a new one.
I'm actually hoping for it.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll see how I respond today. See how I respond today. Unlike Dennis Lynn, our buddy, yesterday. The stare down was epic. Now we're on radio, so it's going to be much easier. All right, welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Our one of our favorite segments of the week when we get to talk to Padres skipper Mike Shildt. And is he on the line, Paulie, right now?
Ready to go.
All right, Skip, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing good, man. Are you? How you feeling right now?
Feel great. How about yourself?
I feel fantastic. I was as agitated as you were yesterday, I think. How long does it take you to flush that agitation?
The agitation comes in all different forms. The agitation yesterday, for a variety of reasons, but and some good, like I think I alluded to. But how long does it take? Gosh, man, you got to get ready for the series today. I got to tell you, I'm ready to go.
Good. I mean, it's good to hear. The Manager's Report with Mike Shildt brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It's better. I dare ask you the Wandy Peralta question that you asked yesterday. I liked that you defended Wandy Peralta. I really do. How hard is that as a skipper to look out there and go, all right, he may not have it today, but you trust a veteran guy. That's kind of what you were saying in your postgame yesterday. How hard is it to know when to go out? Obviously, hindsight being 20/20, you probably would have done something different, but you feel comfortable and confident that no. Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that just no one has a perspective, but I have a responsibility to answer the questions.
Sure.
But man, I wish I lived in a world where every game was in its own silo and everybody was fresh and everybody was ready to pitch. I really wish I lived in that world.
Us too.
I don't. Yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
It'd be great. It's interesting about, I'll give you a longer answer because I was pretty sure you would ask, but let's just take it in a silo with Randy. So if you back up and you realize, okay, we've gotten a game that we didn't get through the fourth with our starter and a game that we're currently playing in that we didn't get through the third. And oh, by the way, as a big picture deal, which I get, our bullpen has been top 2 in the league the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
And doing really, really well. And then you get back to Wandy, so now you get to a spot that's tremendous for us. You get to a guy that has been fantastic. And, the obvious part, first of all, you got a 3-batter minimum, right?
Yeah.
So he faced 3 batters. And, he gave up a homer. He gave up a little base hit to right field. All right. And then the walk to Tovar. Okay, that's probably, don't want to give up any free passes. At that point, you're sitting there going, I got a high ground ball guy, and then I got a lefty on deck who you can argue in McMahon is their best hitter.
Yep.
And probably on pretty good footing. And you say, all right, we're now going 1 over the minimum to Doyle, who hits a ground ball, and it goes in a hole. I don't know what you're going to do with that.
Right.
And then you leave him in to face the lefty, and he strikes him out. All right. We go to the bullpen, bring in a righty, and hits a double. So I don't, how much more do you think he didn't go 8 hitters. He went 5. And he got the ground ball in the fourth, and really, quite honestly, we had used a lot of our options. So
it makes sense. I mean,
I don't know what
it made sense.
I don't know what you mean to say.
No, it made sense. Yes, it made sense when you explained it yesterday. I one of those things where I wanted to ask you though quickly. We were joined also by. I just wanted to introduce you, Mike, to Kyle Glazer.
Yep. Oh, I've known Mike for a long time. How's it going, Mike?
Kyle's in studio with us this morning.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy?
Good to see. I kind of want to follow up on that. One of the things that coming into the season was one of the things to kind of figure out as the year went on was that bullpen pecking order. Okay, who's going to be our setup man? Who's going to be our 7th inning guy? Now that we're 28 games into the season, how would you say that's shaping up in terms of someone kind of reaching up and grabbing the job as this is our clear 8th inning guy versus it's still a little bit fluid?
I think we've demonstrated, we're again, the bullpens are, they can't pitch every day. So we say, hey, there's a 7th inning guy. There's an 8th inning guy. There's a 9th inning guy. Yeah, we like guys in certain positions relative to their availability. And like I said earlier, I think we've established that. And the part that's really interesting to me, and look, it happened yesterday. I'll wear it. If it needs to be worn, I'll wear it, But what's interesting, though, is the 3 weeks prior where the bullpen's got like a 1.5 ERA.
Well, you don't get any credit for that. I'm sorry. That's just how that works. No, that's how it works.
Evidently. That's fine. And look, the players always get the credit. I will not take that responsibility. My job is to do what I can do in the best case scenario to navigate the game, to continue to put ourselves in a possessed position. I can just tell you I feel really good about that. Does it work out all the time? No. I wished it did. I think we'd live in, it'd be great. But with my point being, within those roles, they've changed over those last 3 weeks relative to situation. And I think our entire bullpen has done a tremendous job of being able to pitch really well in those situations they've been called upon, to the point of the top 2 in the league. Now, what happens when they don't get it right, it doesn't work out? Well, that's the hard part of it, and it's the frustrating part of it. But man, those relievers, they've done a great job for us. I mean, Wandy's been fantastic.
He has.
Yeah, coming in
all year.
Yeah, I think I saw coming into yesterday's game, Wandy Peralta had a sub-1 ERA. And De Los Santos had a sub-1 ERA. Yuki Matsui was about 1.6. So these guys have been great. And look, bad days happen. They're going to happen. Like, it's been a great bullpen. It's in Colorado. It's the back of a 4-game series. And Mike, you know about this. I mean, it can be hard, up there, after 4 days up there with the altitude. Again, these games are going to happen. And overall, you're right. These guys have been nails the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I'm making no excuses. I'm pointing out just what I feel like are facts and my observation, and it's all I can really do. I clearly wish it were different, but it wasn't like we were sitting there going, this is it's okay. We know we got a responsibility. The agitation for me was as much that as many good things that happened, that the style of play, and you mentioned Colorado. Look, the guys are professional athletes. I'm not going to sit there and say, they got after it. But the reality is it's not an easy place to play. And, we were, having a couple different moving pieces. And our guys just completely stepped up, played the game the right way, moved runners, stole bags, got bunts down. Guys came in to pick up other guys out of the bullpen, did their jobs. Like, it was a really about a 95% really well played game that just didn't work out on both ends of the pitching, the starting and the end of it.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods this morning. Always appreciate your time and your candor and your explanation. I always do appreciate it. I love listening to reasoning behind it. And sometimes we have an idea, and it's nice to either hear it fortified by the manager or completely, shot down. The only question I had, and you had to be tempted to go to Robert Suarez at some point, maybe. I mean, he's been very effective, and I think with Robert, he's been able to do it in a limited number of pitching. Was it the fact that he's gone 3 out of the last 4 days? We want to give him the day today at least, and he seems to be a guy that always wants the ball, and that's something as a manager you also have to control as well.
Yeah, it would have been 4 or 5, 3 out of 4 in Colorado.
Yep.
Day game after a night game.
That's easy. Yeah. Asked and answered by the skipper, Mike Shildt. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of the guys that 2 guys you didn't play with yesterday, Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado. Is Manny expected back tonight? What is kind of the status on him?
Yeah, you'll see Manny in the lineup tonight.
Oh, good.
I'll be happy about that.
Good deal. It's always nice to see him swinging the bat. And then, of course, Jackson Merrill had a little groin pull. Is he doing okay? Will we see him in the lineup tonight?
We're going to still evaluate Jackson. Good news is, feel like it's not a long-term situation for sure. But I want to keep it that way. And any soft tissue muscle can be tricky. Groins can be really tricky. And you push it, and then you're pulling your hair out because you've created something that you could have gotten ahead of or behind, instead of maybe getting him out there and aggravating it for a 6-week absence. So we're out there on the side of caution, but he'll get evaluated today, but doesn't look to be terribly significant, but it is something, and we'll continue to take care of him.
Mike, to follow up on Jackson, it's been remarkably impressive for a kid who had literally never played center field in his entire professional career, minor leagues included, to come up, learn the position more or less on the fly in spring training, and handle it pretty well as a just turned 21-year-old. Can you put into perspective how difficult it is what he's accomplished? Because I think sometimes fans on the outside assume, guys can move positions. But the reality is, in order to play any position at a major league caliber, even an average major league caliber, you know this as well as anyone, takes thousands upon thousands upon thousands of reps over the course of your life. For him to expedite this process like he has, I mean, can you put into perspective how much of an outlier this is or how impressive it is?
It really is exceptionally impressive, and your point's valid. And a couple thoughts. One, just in general, relative to positions at the big leagues, learning them new. It's understandably you always want the offense, you want the bat in there, and you have a club that most clubs have a spot or two that you want to get more offense, and you're willing to sacrifice defense, and that's okay. But sometimes the sacrifice of defense is just, hey, put this guy here, and my experience has been, Whitey Herzog just passed away, and I had a lot of conversations with Whitey and other people that won a lot of games in World Series, and that moniker about pitching and defense wins championships is pretty darn accurate. Yeah, you got to hit enough for sure. Don't get me wrong there. We got to score, but we get that. But they just go hand in hand with each other. And my point being is, to your point actually, and your question is, you just fire a guy into a certain spot. Oh yeah, he can do this, he can do that, and it typically, doesn't work out great. You end up maybe giving up 2 and driving in 1, or sometimes it's a wash, and it doesn't extend your pitching. So now coming back to Jackson, wow, he's a baseball player, and clearly they're all baseball players. But there's an old timey scout by the name of Roy Tanner.
Yep. And
back 100 years ago, and I'd scout with him, and we'd go look and we'd see a guy, he's just a get it done guy, meaning you can put him about anywhere on the field and he's just going to get it done. He's going to find a way to make it happen, and he's going to adapt. And clearly there's some athleticism involved with that. There's also some mental toughness involved with that, to stay focused and to know that, hey, I am playing another position, but I'm not going to make it harder than it is. I'm going to go learn it, and then I'm just going to go trust my athletic ability. And then there's that, the athletic ability. So there's aptitude, mental toughness, and athletic ability. And Jackson's got all 3 of those things. And there's not many of those young men that can do that, especially coming out of a high school situation and only a couple of years into professional baseball. The only other guy that comes to mind that recently that I had was a local San Diegoan and Tommy Edman. Tommy came up as a shortstop, and in the big leagues put him in third, where he never played in professional baseball, and then put him in right field. And you put him out there, you're not sure what's going to happen, but makes plays. Just a ball player. So Jackson's a really, really special talent in that regard.
No question about it. No question about it. Talking to skipper Mike Shildt here on Ben and Woods. Just last one for me. So a couple weeks ago, we asked you, Manny was scuffling with the bat. We had you on. You said, don't worry about Manny. Last week, we had you on. We asked about Xander. You said, don't worry about Xander, and his OBP has done nothing but climb since then. His hit total, everything else, hit a bomb against Toronto, hit the ball really well. Who should we talk about today? Who needs to, this time next week,
who's scuffling
that needs to heat up that we should ask you about? I mean, honestly, so far, some of those guys are rounding into form, as you mentioned and kind of told us that they would, Skip.
Yeah, I mean, we started the program with one, so I mean, kept our streak alive. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. I'll get. All I can do is give you the answers to it, man. Is Manny, it's an easy one for me.
100%.
Right, it's Manny Machado.
Me too.
Xavier, it's an easy one for me. what is really hard, and understandably, I love the fact that people care so much.
That's true.
You know, Whitey also said that, hey, man, you know, you're going to get your criticisms because everybody's either played or gone to a ball game or grown up. And the great thing about our game is that you played it. You played softball. You know, you've gone with your grandfather, your dad, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, your girlfriend, whatever. People go to the game, and people know enough about it, and they love to get into it, and they love the strategy of it. And, you know, that's actually a good thing. I don't mind that. I think it's healthy. The one thing that you do realize, and I think it's probably taken place a little bit more so in the last, I don't know, 5-10 years with the hypersensitivity of all the coverage to it, and which is, again, fantastic for our sport, and I love it. I think it's great. People are paying attention. But gosh, man, you know, it's a long season. This is a really, really hard game. And do people want to hear it? I don't know. It is. That's all I can tell you. It's, you know, and so Manny's got to prove he's human sometimes, because, as Tony would say, the other side's trying too. And Xavier, yeah, it was a tough little bit of time. You know, Wandy really got one ball to the kid Goodman that got him, you know, hit the ball out of the ballpark. Other than that, he gave a base hit to right. He walked a guy. Okay, get it. And he gave up a ground ball single. And then he punched a dude out. And it's like the world fell. It's the circumstances in a row didn't work out. You get my point.
They do.
It's a challenge. And I'm just personally, I know what a long season looks like. Will never claim to have all the answers. I know from my experiences that if you believe in people and you trust your people, not completely blindly, I get that part, but you trust them, you believe in them, and I think everybody would like that in their jobs, right?
100%.
You know, you don't have a good day at work. Would you want to get just, you know, told to go home or replaced or, you know, moved out of your position? Now, granted, we're in a highly productive arena. We get it. And, but I do believe I'm going to err on the side of believing in guys, especially with track records.
Yeah, and we've seen that so far. Skip, thanks so much for your time. Good luck against Philly. You know, another tall order. Really, really good ball club coming in. So everyone's excited to see how you guys respond, and I know the guys will be ready to play, so we really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that's one thing I think everybody can appreciate the effort level and the dedication to compete every day.
100%. Thanks so much, Skip. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
All right. That was Mike Shildt. Love that dude, man. He kills me. And the Manager's Report brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking. It's better. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about everything we just heard and talk about what our skipper said and get to all that, wrap up the program. Got about 40 minutes left. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to our Management Report with the skipper, Mike Shildt. Be right back. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Benny on vacation in Vegas. He'll be back Monday. Excited to get the whole crew back together. Thanks so much for Kyle Glazer coming in, hanging out with us, getting a chance to talk to the skipper. We're all big fans of Mike Shildt, and I listen. You could ask me that if I worked at another radio station. I don't care. I like the guy. I like talking to him. I like his explanations. I think he's a very smart baseball man, as you mentioned. One of the few people in this game of baseball too that never played the game at the highest level, but still gets the respect because of the grind that you mentioned, and working his way up. There's a lot of respect in that room for Mike Shildt. You can tell. It's obvious. But I like talking to the dude. He's a fun interview, and you can tell when he gets a little worked up.
Well, animated.
There's
passion.
There's passion there. We say it every week. It's nice to be able to have him on after a game like that and hear his explanation. And I listened to it yesterday, his explanation, and I went, yeah, I know exactly what you're feeling. I know exactly why you stuck with him.
Everything he said there was completely rational, made perfect sense. And again, sometimes things don't work out. I mean, that's life. You can do the right thing. You can make the right decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't work. There are other managers who I've heard their explanations for things. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Gabe Kapler was one that he would give these explanations, and you're like, ooh, no, that's you're doing that from kind of a place of ego instead of. Yeah. It's hard, man, because yes, obviously, like you said, if you're in a silo and you don't have to worry about any other game than yesterday's game, you don't do what you did, especially if you knew how it was going to work out. You'd be an idiot to do exactly what you did, knowing it's not going to work out, and say, I trust myself and I trust these guys. You'd be a moron. I don't think this changes one thing about the way he feels about Wandy Peralta. The guy's been in the game long enough to know.
It shouldn't. Everyone has bad games.
Everybody.
It happens, especially in Coors Field. And again, too, it's not just about, everything the Padres did wrong. Give the Rockies credit. Give Hunter Goodman credit for hitting a ball to the frickin' moon. Give the Rockies credit for working good at bats, getting those walks. Like, these are Major League Baseball players, too. As much as that's a bad team, this isn't the NFL where anyone's going, 0-16, 16-0. Everyone's going to win 50 and lose 50 with potentially the exception of the White Sox. I don't know if they're going to win 50
They may not win 20.
I mean, it's really bad.
They're on a pace for about 19 wins this season.
Although I said the same thing about the A's at this time last year, and somehow, some way, they got to 50. So I think that at the end of the day, look, losses happen. I thought his explanation was perfectly rational.
Yeah.
It made sense. This wasn't, you talk about Gabe Kapler. My two examples were Omar Vizquel during the 2017 WBC. For a guy who was as great a player as he was, clearly had no idea who his players were he was managing. And also, I remember Ryan Sandberg when he was with the Phillies. Again, Hall of Fame player, fantastic talent. It was very clear his managerial process was not up to snuff, I think is the kindest way to say it. I remember talking to an opposing manager after the fact. He even told me that we love playing the Phillies because it's so easy to manage against him.
Good Lord.
I mean,
that's not the reputation you want.
Right. And that's not Mike Shildt. Mike Shildt knows the game. He knows his players. He's going to do the right thing, from a X's and O's, standpoint to a stand up for his players standpoint. Again, everything he said was perfectly rational, made sense. The Rockies beat him. It happens.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it doesn't take away the fact that absolutely sucks. You can tell he's still a little bit agitated about it, but he's got a really tall order this weekend in the Philadelphia Phillies coming in town with some really good pitching. And you know what, man? You want that. You want to face those teams. You do. You want to face those teams with really good pitching to see where you do measure up and how you measure up. And I'm excited as hell about it. I love it. It's going to have a real good atmosphere at Petco Park. We know that. Fans continue to deliver every single day for this team. Be nice to go out and find a way to beat a couple of these really, really good arms that the pitchers have. It's all order, though, man. But this is it. This is what you live for.
And also get through that lineup.
Through that lineup.
This is going to be a really fun series. A lot of star power on the field. And look, I don't like saying anything's a measuring stick on April 26th.
For sure.
It's a long
I think we both did, actually, earlier in the show. I think we both said measuring stick.
But I do think it's always notable to see how a team responds to a bad loss against a really good team at home, great environment. Again, whether they sweep the Phillies or get swept by the Phillies or something in between, nothing about this series is going to make or break this season.
Correct.
Let's not overstate it.
Right.
At the same time, I think it's still always interesting to me to see, okay, how does a team respond to adversity, in this case, a bad loss? We've seen them respond to adversity well at various points throughout the season. I mentioned that Dodgers series. I mentioned coming back and being the Blue Jays on that Sunday. this is going to be a tough test. Nothing about this will be easy. They could very well play well, do things right, and still
lose.
And still get swept because the Phillies are that talented. Let's not forget, this team's been the NLCS the last 2 years, but let's just see how they do.
You keyed on something there that I want to talk about in our final segment of the day. We will talk about what it means for the San Diego Padres to play well. I've got some ideas of things that I certainly would like to see change with this team. And we'll talk about that. If you guys want to take a couple more phone calls, we can. We got 30 minutes left of the program. It's been a fun one today. We have talked a ton of baseball. Really tough scene for those that say we don't talk enough sports. We've been like all sports today. It's a tough scene for you guys.
Want to talk parenthood? We
can talk parenthood.
We both have 3-year-olds.
People get mad at me when I talk about my kids. Kyle, they threaten to kill me. They hate it. It's like their number one thing they hate, but I'm happy to do it. Anytime I can rave about my kids, I'm happy to do it. But, we will come back. Final segment of the day right here on Ben and Woods. Final segment on a Friday. Benham Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Today, I think, has gone much better than yesterday. No offense to our lovely wives, Paulie. It was a bit of an S show in here yesterday.
It was a lot of different things.
It's just a lot of different people. You come in.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm the Jackson Merrill. Injecting some youth.
You've been a calming influence. You've injected some youth. Exactly.
He actually just reminded me. Part of the chaos yesterday was we had like 3 Padres tickets, pairs of Padres tickets to give away.
Boom.
We have not given away a pair of tickets yet today.
Now these tickets are for Monday.
Monday night. It's the knit beanie cap night.
Gosh.
Against the Reds. So if you would like to go to Monday night's game, get your giveaway, call now 833-288-0973. We'll take third caller and get somebody some tickets to Monday night's game.
All right. And what are Mud and Don going to do without the material? Because they've been pounding the giveaway. Like they use it as like a bit. So they're going to need to move on to the next one. I'm excited. They left one here, and I think somebody took it. My wife won't let me wear beanies.
What? Why?
She won't let me.
That's a very weird thing to not let you wear.
She's a weird person, but I look like a moron in them. So she's like, I'm begging you.
That's why she won't let you wear them.
She's like, you look horrible. She's a very complimentary person, but she says, anytime you have like a beanie on, she's like, I've never been less sexually attracted to you. If I put a beanie on, if it's cold, she's like, I don't look good in them. I don't look like Mud and Don put them on. They look good. I don't look good in them. So it's like her one thing. She doesn't care how like fat I get or anything. Like she's fine. If I wear a beanie, she's like, oh.
So this can be your safe space. wear it in the studio.
Well, I could.
And,
I could.
It's hot in here. But
it is hot. I'm sweating right now so badly. Paulie's going to take those calls right now, give those tickets away. Kyle Glazer joins us in studio. One of the things I would love to see cleaned up this weekend, I would love to just see some really crisp defense. Yeah. I really would, and some really crisp base running from this team. You're going to run into some good pitchers. We've got good hitters, and we tend to elevate our game. I do feel like that. I feel like this team is in the last couple of years has played down the competition, and which is a natural thing to do, and played up as well. So
1,000%.
They're going to be running into it's Wheeler tonight.
Nola
tonight. I'm sorry. Nola tonight. Nola Musgrove. It's going to be
great.
Fantastic. Then Cease against, as you said, probably the most underrated pitcher in baseball. Ranger Suarez has not lost yet. Has looked absolutely disgusting. Is feeling it. Has got the confidence, which in my mind again just means he's due for a bad one. Due for a clunker at Petco Park. If you're going out there this weekend, let's get loud. Let's show Philly that we also can be like Philly. Now, I don't mean you need to hurl death threats at players.
That's what's in.
Damn it. I was wondering if you were going to play that today. I think we've exercised the that's what's in curse. I want to believe that. They say, Bryce is going to lose. Manny's going to cruise. God dang it. We almost made it through. I was wondering in the back of my mind, will Paulie play that day? Just to be a jerk. Yeah, and he certainly did. I would like to see that, Kyle. I would like to see them play a little bit more crisp baseball. You're going to have to beat this team.
Yeah, again, this is a team where if you give them an inch, they're going to run away with it. And this is how a lot of times you have to beat these teams who, look, let's just call it how it is. The Phillies are the more talented team than the Padres. This is the team that was in the World Series 2 years, in the NLCS last year. You stack up these lineups next to each other. You stack up these rotations next to each other. On paper, the Phillies are a better team. They have a better record. It's all there. The proof is in the pudding. In order to beat teams who are better than you and have more talent than you, you have to play clean baseball and take advantage of when they make mistakes. And you can absolutely do it. The Padres can beat the Phillies. Again, it's baseball. Anyone can beat anyone. But you're right. That is going to be the biggest thing. We've seen them run into outs. We've seen, again, yesterday, what facilitated a lot of the collapse was walks from the bullpen. And again, a wild pitch, a pass ball, the avoidable mistakes. There are going to be days, like you said, you face a pitcher who's just got it, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, you just tip your hat.
That happens. You're going to have, again, games where you make your pitch and the other guy just hits it a mile. Like Bryce Harper has certainly hit some pitchers' pitches 400 feet into right center field. And again, you tip your cap. That's going to happen. It's, to use the worst cliche ever, control the controllables. play clean defense, be fundamentally sound, be smart on the base pass. If you limit your mistakes, you enhance your chances of winning. And I agree that's going to be key to watch for the Padres, especially, again, Jurickson Profar does some great things. He's also done some really boneheaded things on the base pass.
Yes.
I mean, getting picked off at second against the Blue Jays.
Eggy getting picked off yesterday didn't feel like a big deal at the time. Certainly was. Came back to bite you.
Clean up the little things. That is going to be key. I agree.
Kyle Schwarber really, really enjoys hitting at Petco Park. And I mean, really, he has got a career OPS of over 1,000, 7 bombs, 13 ribs in 17 games at Petco Park.
And the longest home run any of us will ever see. NLCS, so 488. I remember prior to that, the longest home run I ever saw, I was, I think, 13 years old in the stands with my mom at old Qualcomm Stadium. When Barry Bonds hit the grand slam off Dennis Tankersley that hit the scoreboard at Qualcomm. That was 482. I also saw Giancarlo Stanton literally hit a ball out of Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
That was 467. 480, the second deck in right field, and that thing
was
almost like a rocket.
It was impressive, but it sucked that it came at our expense. It was really, really not a good. He loves hitting here. He's comfortable here, and so Joe Musgrove's got his work cut out for him tonight. Don't leave one up to him. He's going to pound it. Let's check traffic real quick. Got a quick interview too with one of my buddies from the San Diego Seals. Big playoff game tomorrow, Pechanga Arena, San Diego. We'll be right back.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Collision on westbound 52 right at the northbound 15 connector ramp. Also traveling on eastbound 8 Mission Center Road. Crashed over the right shoulder. Looks like a couple folks get to spend part of their weekend getting their vehicles in for some servicing. Got a stalled southbound 5 right at the northbound 15 connector. It's over to the right shoulder. Another stall reported on the northbound 125 just before Lemon Avenue. That's in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome to the program. One of our best players, San Diego Seals, NLL, our lacrosse team. I'm the PA announcer for the Seals, and we have a huge game tomorrow, and kind of a really brilliant regular season for our Seals. One game, move on to the next round, joined by Seals player Trey LeClaire. Good morning, Trey. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, guys. Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. It's playoff time. You know, last year, a bit of a disappointment. Last year is in the rearview mirror. We're looking at Panther City coming into town. We've beaten Panther City, twice this year. They've given us some tough games. Big one tomorrow night at Pechanga Arena, Trey.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's do or die, right? These one-game series are obviously nerve-wracking, but you work the whole year. So we're looking forward to it for sure. We've had 2 close games with them, so we're looking for a challenging one, but hopefully end up on the other end.
I'm going to need you guys to score really early and really often. I've kind of shredded my throat this week. You guys know I like to scream into the microphone and try to get the crowd riled up. You guys may have to pick me up a little bit in the PA booth tomorrow night. I know you can. I was really impressed last week with that victory. Weren't really playing for much, honestly. Like, they locked up the first round home game. You tried to knock Vancouver out, and you did, but you guys came out on fire last night. I wanted to ask you, was that a message that Coach Merrill gave you guys, like, hey, let's go out and get hot going into the playoffs? And I know it's hard. You got a week between games, but what was his message before the game last week?
Yeah, for us, I think just getting back to our A game there and, just going into playoffs with some momentum is always a great thing. So, that was kind of the focus for that game, and I thought we played a really good game against Vancouver.
You did.
And ended their season, so.
That felt so good because that head coach and I, we have beef. That Kurt Malosky guy, he wrote cheater on that whiteboard and held it up. He thought I was manipulating the shot clock. So I was doubly happy to see that win last week. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah, it was a great win for sure.
All right, so Panther City's coming in. Game is tomorrow at Pechanga Arena, San Diego. You can get your tickets at sealslax.com. We're going to drop the ball at 7 p.m. Pacific. We need a big crowd. We want everybody out there getting rowdy. Seals have been really fantastic this year. The thing I love, too, a lot of guys have a lot of goals. Everyone is sharing the wealth this year. What is it going to take for you guys to win the whole thing? Because I've been doing this now 6 years. I've been with the team since they started. I want the chip, man. I want it bad. I know you guys do, too. What's it going to take? Because there's some tough teams out there still.
Yeah, I think for us, it's, consistency is key right now. Definitely during the playoffs, you want to hit your stride and, find consistency. And I think for us, we're just still searching for the best version of ourselves. So, just coming off that Vancouver game, we're looking to one-up that for sure.
And so many legends of lacrosse on our team. And again, you could see like how egos could get in the way. There has not been any ego on this team as far as I can tell. And I'm down there pretty close to you guys. Everyone's sharing it. Everybody just wants to win. It doesn't feel like anyone's out for their numbers. I mean, it has really been fun to watch. Probably my favorite year of Seals lacrosse we've had. Is that something that you guys talk about as a team? Like, hey, we got to make sure that we're all pulling together.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just have great leaders throughout the locker room, right? We have legends on this team. We have guys who've been around for a long time, have won championships before. So we got guys that can lead us to that, and we're going to rely on them during the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing we need to rely on is the fans. Would love to see you guys out tomorrow. Get your tickets at sealslax.com. Trey, thank you very much, man. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Don't come see me in the penalty box, though. I feel like every time we, get somebody in the penalty box, they end up scoring a goal. I know you guys play tough. I know you play hard, but I don't want to see you next to me tomorrow. Deal?
Yeah, that's a deal. I'll try my best.
All right, good. Good to see you, man. We'll see you tomorrow. That's Trey LeClaire. Really, really incredible lacrosse player.
Learn more about this manipulation of the shot clock.
Yeah, so there was this thing last year, or a couple years ago. That was last year. They have a really bad review system. It's kind of an old thing. I just do PA, so I just hold a mic. That's it. And we were playing Calgary at the time, and their head coach was like screaming. He thought I was manipulating the shot clock. I don't touch the clock. He thought I wasn't playing the replays. You have to have 2 replays. And he was yelling and pointing at me, and I'm looking around behind me like, is he not pointing at me? All of a sudden, I look up, and he has a whiteboard, and he wrote cheater on it, and he held it up and grinned this serial killer grin at me.
Wow.
And I went, what? Then some of the players were coming over near the booth.
And the cross players don't mess around.
Dude, they're terrifying.
Yeah,
they're
that's
terrifying. Scary. And the players were coming over going, you're horse ass. And I'm going, what are you talking about? All I have is a mic. I can't do anything with this microphone.
You're not the all-powerful.
No, So we played. He's now the head coach of Vancouver. So we played them last week. Every time we scored a goal, I put the mic down and put my hands up like this. Every single time, I would just stare across the field at him with my hands up, like, see, I didn't do anything. And it's a fun league. It's a fun sport. It's very violent. It's very high scoring. Very fast paced. Yeah. They are magicians. The way that they can manipulate the ball it's such a thing of beauty. I never thought I would fall in love with it as much as I have, and I am obsessed with it. And so I'll be there tomorrow, Pechanga Arena, San Diego. Would love to see you guys out. I know there's a Padres game as well. If you got to make a choice, this is the playoffs. We need you. We want to move on. We want to win a championship for San Diego. All the guys are really, really committed. So, Kyle, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. We have a treat for you. He has not heard. He has not heard things Ben likes. Our co-host Ben, I'll just put it this way.
Fellow Torrey Pines High
grad.
I think he's got me by about 15 years, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
He likes a lot of stuff. Check it out.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paul Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner. I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores. I like sugar. I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. And I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. Right. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like the big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tigers still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake. I like a lot of things. I like Chick-fil-A sauce. I just like rankings. I like Steve Winwood. I like Pie Gal Poker. I like to be informed on subjects. I like Chicago. I like Tom Petty. I like the idea of another left-handed bat in the lineup for sure. I do like a good Matt Damon film. I like being on the same page. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like a lot of things. I like this shirt. I like Wipeout. I liked my omelet. I like San Diego State at home. I like when a baseball player can be more than just a baseball player. I like vanilla. I like the atmosphere. I like the felt on a poker table, just kind of how it feels under your fingers when you're there. I like rhubarb pie. I like the window seat. Changing the subject. I like that. I like just the standard yellow peep. I like how San Diego State's playing right now. I like finer things. I like calling a game. I like fiction more than nonfiction, just like the cream. I actually like playing golf with other people. I've liked everything I've seen so far from Mike Shildt. I like
God, it's funny.
He's incredible. He likes everything, Kyle.
I mean, the relentless positivity is great. What the heck is the knuckle method?
It's a great question. It's a great question. Some might say it's sexual in nature. Nobody really knows.
There's a lot of potential double entendres in there. I'm not sure I want to know about.
You're all right.
But, yeah.
Thanks so much, Kyle. Really appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us. Paulie, great job. I'm Woodsy. Ben will be back Monday. The whole crew back together. And I'm going to give you a Go Padres before this thing goes. Have a great weekend. Love you guys.